Hey, what's happening? What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Hope. We are here. We in the building. We got lots of friendly, beautiful faces out here. I'm sure out there too. We got another fire class for everybody. And, you know, we look forward to hopefully adding some value to where you are intellectually, mentally. I'm not going to say spiritually because some of y'all got a lot of work to do. So, and I ain't the one to deliver it, but no, I'm messing with you. So let's get started. So the title of today's class is Systems Thinking. One of my favorite words in business is systems thinking. We drill that word hard into our community and our businesses, to our staff. Systems thinking is a powerful way to think. And we're going to really dive into some emotional agility today and get busy. So let's get started with the first slide. It's a recap. So recap from last week. If you do recall, remember our jobs as entrepreneurs. We are wayfinders. That's our job as entrepreneurs. We are wayfinders. And there's your way and there's the way. And the goal for you is to match up your way with the way at all times and everything. You know, we can go deep into some more examples, but I think we're pretty clear about what that means. A lot of us, here's a couple more though. I just need to just tap a little bit. And this is off the road of entrepreneurship into personal life. Do you know somebody? I know I do, who had their dream mate in mind, somebody who they wanted, who they created the boxes, and then they found somebody who checked all the boxes. And when they got that person, they got bored with that person. Or they couldn't understand why they wasn't madly in love with that person, or they was tired of that person. They want to be with somebody else, even though they got the person that checked all the boxes they created. Do you know anybody like that? That is a perfect example of your way versus the way. We got to realize our ways ain't shit. And the ways that we come up with in our head are not created by what's good for us. They're created by outside pressure and outside branding and marketing. And they're selling us dreams, and we're taking those dreams and orchestrating our life, thinking that that's what makes us happy, all because we got triggered by some commercials. Have you ever seen a couple where you like, that's the oddest couple that I ever could imagine? Weird. How come that ballin' ass dude got that homely ass girl? See, I just got some, yes, see, yes. You know why? Because he chose the way. He chose the way. And that man is happy. That man is happy. He chose the way, not some bullshit ass way that they show you how you're supposed to. Well, you're supposed to have this, and power couples are supposed to look like this. So you drank that Kool-Aid, and then now you like, wait a minute. But when I look at all the people that I know, they don't look like the power couples they advertise. You're looking at the difference between the way and their way. See, trends change every year or so. What's popular, what's good, what's bad, what success is, what success isn't, it changes every year. So if we get caught in the waves of trends, then you'll never find the way. You see how that comes together? If we get caught in the waves of trends and we're wayfinders, then we'll never find a way. Versus knowing where true north is. Understanding how the sun rotates and where you are fully and where you're going fully. Fuck what's going on out there. There's mirages, there's things out there that can make you seem like the way is there and there, but you know the way, you're looking for the way, you stay the course of the way. Here's another one. Have you ever had this material dream in mind? Like, I want to buy a house, or I want this one particular car, or I want this Gucci this, or I want to make this amount of money, or I want to make 100K a year, 200K a year. I want this particular outfit, some big material item, a big time job. Or I want to have a family. I want to get married and have a family. And you got that stuff. And it almost made you depressed because when you got it, you realized it didn't make you happy. Has that ever happened to anybody? I know it has for me. You know what that is? It's your way versus the way. Because is there ever a time that you can remember in your mind where you were having the most fun? Like in that moment, in that time period, life was like an amazing movie. Can anybody think of that time? It was so fun, exhilarating. How many? Okay, how old were you? I just need an age. 27. 27. Huh? Now. Yabasua.
Which time?
How old were you?
Do I have to just pick one time?
Yeah.
22.
22. 30. Now, were you driving the fanciest car? Did you have hella money in your bank account? He didn't have a car at all. I asked you to pick one moment in time. You picked it, and you didn't have a lot of money. You didn't have a car at all. Y'all was broke. Couldn't rub 4 nickels together with the 5 of y'all, including me. The way rarely has shit to do with material. Because when you find the way, you're in it. You feel it.
I was just going to say, I feel like that was like a big mental and emotional shift year for me. And I think that why that time in my life felt so epic is because I felt so deeply rooted in my purpose. And so like that made anything that in my head didn't fit as like the perfect life just like be like, yeah, but like I was so fed by what I was doing and the impact that I was having that it didn't matter that I wasn't where I wanted to be eventually.
Yeah. Maybe there's one or two here. Have you ever had a partner, an intimate partner, and they were just, you just had so much fun when you was around them. Every single thing about them made you like, oh man, I love this person. I love hanging out. You looked forward to hanging out with them. When you did, it was just so much fun, but they kind of didn't fit the Instagram test. And you was willing to sometimes maybe break up with them or not mess with them no more, not because of how they made you feel, but because they didn't pass the Instagram out in public test. I know I did. I'm just speaking from experience. And you like afterwards, you find the Instagram version of like, ooh, y'all look good together. Man, y'all are a power couple, and you miserable. Because either you or that bitch crazy. So either you crazy or her crazy or both of y'all crazy. Because you're locked in your way, not the way. You locked in your way and not the way. But you got to ask yourself, how much more time you going to spend playing with your way? Because God is sending you the way and you rejecting it. You rejecting God's way. You rejecting it. Then hindsight, you look back and be like, damn, that was the best relationship I ever had. My stupid ass. I was going with what was popular. What I thought. And then when I got it, I realized that ain't even it. Our suffering comes from our desire to control shit in our way. And we're so stubborn most of the times that we're willing to straight die. Willing to die. Unhappy like that, as long as we could do it our way. But at the same time, being jealous and being envious and being irritated by all the people that are successful around us, who are willing to do it the way. How crazy. So this is huge. This is serious and probably one of the most monumental things I want you to think about on a continuous basis, not just today. You're the wayfinder, meaning there is a way out there, and the goal is to find it. And if you believe in the higher power is going to bring it to you. I fucked up with a lot of good women. I have. A lot of good women. People say, ain't no good women out there. No, that's bullshit. There's lots of good women out there. And either I wasn't ready, I was scared, I was this, I was still kicking it, I was still trying to have a good old time. I had all the excuses in the world. Then you complain about it ain't this or it ain't that. You have this particular person in mind. Maybe you want a fucking thug who's sensitive and makes $1 million a year, but at the same time got time for you to spend, who's alpha male but emotional and emotionally available to you, like all these unrealistic ass things that you want in a human being. And that good dude, you passed him up because he ain't hard enough, he ain't got no tattoos, or he ain't this, or he ain't making this amount of money, and you good men are being passed up, making a mistake, or he messed up one, he boring, he took me to Cheesecake Factory. It's crazy. Man, I like Cheesecake Factory. If you ain't fucking with Cheesecake Factory, I ain't fucking with you. So, this is real life. This is real life stuff. And in one slide, yes, but you got to really adjust your mindset. I think Nana says something very, very, very powerful that we passed up last week or the week before. And that is, I thought about this shit all week. Our natural state is poverty. As a culture, our natural state is poverty. So, my ass, I'm going to go do some research and dig deep into find out that, absolutely it is. Our culture, we're a tribal culture. That's why when folks got here from the Plymouth Rock, they got here, this place has been in a beautiful condition for thousands of years. Why? For that same reason, because our natural state is poverty, which means if I walk up on an apple tree, I'm only going to take what I need for me and my family for the day. My brain doesn't even register to put a fucking fence around the tree and a sign that says $5 a pound. I own this part of land. This is my tree. Our brain doesn't register. Our natural state is to take some for ourselves and leave the rest for whoever else. So that's why our natural state is poverty in today's society. It's not a bad thing. It's just how we are naturally wired to make sure we're sharing and taking care of the earth. We cut meat, we leave things, our natural state as tribal people is if we have a kill, we take what we need and then leave the rest for the vultures. So entrepreneurship, we have to go counter what our natural state is. So every thought you think in business is probably not natural if your business is successful. You have to teach yourself that. You have to teach yourself that. So it takes years to develop this muscle. Years to develop this muscle. That's why you got to tip your hat to the people that make that shit look easy or been doing it a long time, because this is counterintuitive to our culture. Another thing about our culture, we are wired to not stick our head above the mean of the culture. We're wired to not stand out. So us hating on each other and all that shit, that goes back to thousands of years of being in tribes. If me, you, and you go hunting and catch a fish, catching fish for the tribe, if we come back and your fish, Yabasua's fish is twice as big as all of ours, when we get back to the tribe, guess what the women's job is? To roast him so that we don't feel bad. That's natural. It's part of our nature as a culture. So ideally, you don't want to stand out because you don't want to get roasted. It keeps the culture in the community solid. The relationship's good. Nobody feeling like they're better than each other. That's embedded in the DNA of our culture. So if we want to build something big, stand out, make millions and billions of dollars, that's going anti what's in our DNA. So none of this shit's gonna feel natural. None of it.
None of it. Come on.
None of it's gonna feel natural. Self-sabotage. That's what we have. We have embedded elements in us to keep slapping our hand down and keep us in the. That's why we naturally cap on each other, roast each other, hate on each other, be jealous of each other, talk that. How's your little thing doing? That's in our nature. It's not abnormal. It's normal for us. So all of the untraining we have to do to open up ourselves to be bigger, to stand out, to think like a business person, to be entrepreneurial, enterprising, that's all unnatural shit that we have to train and build muscles for. So I'm going to say this one more time. Nothing that happens is going to feel natural. It's going to feel like fucking chalk, fingernails on chalk all the time until you get used to it. And then people around you who don't train like us will walk past and be like, man, what you doing? That ain't cool what he did. Man, you messing with me. That's disrespectful. That's stupid. Because they don't know. We're training different. So the way is a very, very, very narrow road because it's unpopular. Because you have to go against your thoughts at all times. That's why the emotional agility part of this is so important for you. Because if you ain't got it, then you're being swept away by every wave that hits you. Next, fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze. So last week we talked about that. It's a consensus. We're pretty much all three at different times. So it's important for you to know and monitor your behavior so you know what your triggers are. And it's up to you to be able to control when you do what and when. So the goal is to fight when it's time to fight. To run when it's time to run. And to freeze when it's time to freeze. See what I'm saying? And if you don't do those things, it can cost you. In business, in life, in relationships, and everything. You have a suffering, struggling road. I seen a video. These two dudes are arguing. Dude number 2 is all in his face, talking hella shit. Dude number 1 says, hey, better back up off me. Dude number 2 says, no, takes off his shirt, gets in a fighting stance. Dude number 1 pulls out a gun. Click, clack, cocked it back. Now, what's the right thing to do in that moment? Run. You know what he said? Put that gun down and we can continue this one-on-one. Put that gun down and we can continue this one-on-one. So he said, man, walk up on me, see what happens. Dude number 2 says, man, no, you called him a couple names, told him to put the gun down, and rushed towards him. He was still in fight when he should have been in flight. Guess what happened to him? Yeah. Yeah. So he was still in fight mode. He didn't have enough emotional agility to get out of fight mode, to think logically about what's the best move in this place. And that's an extreme example, but that shit happens to us all the time. All the time. So between stimulus and response, there's a space. The goal is to widen the space, to give you time to think, what's the best move in this situation? Hey, you got it. You got it, bro. You got it. You got it, bro. So like, emotional agility is creating the opportunity for you to give the best response in a moment. Because now you got free thinking ability to say, I should probably run. You know what I'm saying? If they say, hey, if this animal is walking towards you, a bear or whatever, do not run. Who's saying that? Scott. Oh, you. Do not run. Do not run. If you stay still, you're good. Okay? Now imagine a bear walking up towards you. Knowing that fact. Claws is sharp. Slobber out of his mouth. Giant teeth. Walking up to you, sniffing you, smelling you. Growling and making crazy noises at you, knowing that if you stay still, you're good, but if you run, it's bad. They can run 35 miles an hour. Do you have the emotional agility to stick to the plan? I got hella no's. Hey, you know what that's called in our world? Negotiation. Negotiation. That's called negotiation. Because the people on the other side of the negotiation smell your fucking fear. And the more they smell your fear, the more they keep coming. And the more they keep coming. And the more they keep coming. And you can't run fast enough. Oh my God. Get your minds out the gutter. Shit. Poor me. See, y'all get the point. Next slide. Fight, flight, or freeze. All right, Shabisha.
People who die in fires or crash landings often do so because they try to escape through the same door they used when they entered. In their panic, they rely on an established pattern instead of thinking of another way out.
Okay, hold on. So, in traumatic situations, everything goes back to your nature and what you've trained to your nature. So it's either your nature or what you've trained to your nature. And so if people haven't trained their nature, then you get to see what people are really about. And most of the time in these situations, in panic mode, a person can know the way out, but can't find it. And I remember a few years ago, I got a boat, right? I got a boat, love being on the water. I got some lessons first. So I said, hey, with this boat, you got to teach me how to drive it. So the guy taught me how to drive it. I go out with him a few times. When I'm with him, got it. This is how you, okay, boom, whip it straight, good. Went out a second time, he's like, man, you a fast learner. Yep, man, this is me, this is what I do. So 2 lessons. So one day I get this bright fucking idea. You know what? I'm gonna go drive my boat by myself. I got it. I get out there. The docks are real narrow. So I backed out just fine, smashed out. I'm in the water doing my thing, donuts, playing, water splashing in my face, everything good. Having a great time. So now it's getting a little late. I'm like, yeah, let me head back. So work my way back. And as soon as I hit the right and see the dock and how narrow it is, I realize I don't got enough experience. And it's a big ass boat on this side and a big ass boat on this side. 2 way more expensive boats than mine. So, in boats, you can't pull no emergency brake. Even when you stop, they drift. Even when you stop, they slide. So you gotta know how to turn while you're drifting. And turn while you're drifting. And I realized I didn't have no experience and nobody in my boat to train me. So guess what happened when I hit that corner? All the people out there knew that I'm brand new, so they came out to their docks, to their boats, just to watch the shit. So I try to hit that corner, and I see that it didn't stop, and I'm drifting. So I hit it again, and I'm drifting again. I hit it again, so I start panicking. And I'm banging all around that whole dock, banging all kind of shit, banging up. So then they throw ropes out at the boat. I'm trying to grab and finally they threw a couple ropes enough to where I could catch it. And then I pulled myself in from their ropes and not the boat, not the steering wheel. I panicked. I'm thinking, what the fuck? I did it right all them times when he was in the boat with me. It's when you are triggered and your brain tells you that there's a problem, your IQ drops from smart to dumb. So when you panic, your IQ drops from smart to dumb. And I'm not saying this to say it. This is a scientific fact. Your IQ literally can go from smart person to dumb person. It drops that many points. Now, if y'all IQ is already low, you fucked. But we're going to assume we all smart. So that's why you have to rely on your training, on this exercise that we want to instill in you all the time. Playing the game in different moments of being uncomfortable, having difficult and challenging conversations. Have you ever heard of a practice player in sports? A practice player? What a practice player is a whole bunch of kids try out for the team. Man, this kid is just killing in practice. He 5 for 5 at the free throw line. He 10 for 10 at 25 feet. He 4 for 9 at the 3-point line. Man, this kid, he's gonna start on my team. Get that kid in the game. You juice. You bragging to the other coaches. Man, I got a kid. Hey, what's his name? They're like, yeah, all right, you gonna see. Man, that kid gets in the game, he freezes. His IQ drops. He can't make a shot. He had 4 points, 14 turnovers. It's because if you don't know how to handle stress or stressful environments, then all the practice it goes out the window. You got to practice in stressful environments. You got to practice in stressful environments. So that's why the practice is important. You know when you get to practice? Every day. Because there's micro situations every day that occur that will prepare you for the moments. I think I told the story about my son when we would practice and he hit free throws 10 in a row. I'm like, yeah, that ain't real life. So I get next to him and whisper in his ear, you weak, you sorry, you trash. Miss, off. And then he was like 2 for 10. I'm like, yeah, I got in your head, motherfucker. I got in your head. And he's panicking, looking at me like, why is my dad doing this? But over time, guess what? 3 for 10, 5 for 10, 6 for 10, 7 for 10. The day he got 10 for 10, he looked at me like, fuck you, and hit the shot. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Who can rattle you now? Who can rattle you now? If you can't be rattled by your dad, some weirdos in the crowd can't fuck with you. Mm-hmm. So in this business shit, you got to practice those moments. A lot of us grew up with a lot of practice in wild environments and wild home lives and wild schools and wild neighborhoods. That's practice too. That's practice too. When I worked in corporate, all my reviews like, court is so calm under pressure. I'm like, motherfucker, you call this pressure? It's a job. Mm-hmm. It's a job. We go home after this. Like, so keep reading.
In the same way, our suffering, our disengagement, our relationship challenges, and our other difficulties are almost never solved by thinking in the same old automatic way.
Oh my God. This is a major key. Stop going back to the place where you checked already when you lost your keys. Stop going back there. Matter of fact, you already checked there. What it just appears again, it's going to appear again. You got to get creative. You got to loosen up your thinking in a way that can allow you to think outside of your box. You got to loosen your and radical responsibility helps with that. I know it seems way out there, but it's connected to this. The problems that you want to solve are not going to get solved in the direction in which you made them. Keep going.
Being emotionally agile involves being sensitive to context and responding to the world as it is right now.
Has anybody wanted to lose weight and they just wanted to just kind of freestyle it in their head as to how they wanted to do it? Just freestyle it. And in your brain, Your brain will tell you you're doing it exactly the right way, exactly how you're supposed to be doing it. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Right? But then you're like, damn, I was doing it. And then somebody said, no, write down everything. Write down everything. Write down everything for that day. And you're like, wait, I ate that? I did that? That adds up to that many calories? Oh, shit. Like, shit is different. You said 4,000 calories later. So being emotionally agile involves being sensitive to context and responding to the world as it is, not how your brain wants it to be. Not how your brain wants it to be. I've been there like, man, I don't understand why I can't get rid of this gut. I eat good. Then I write down my shit and I realize for the whole week, there's a pattern that contributes to this gut. There's a pattern. But my brain ignores it because I deserve it. My brain ignores it because it was a long day. My brain ignores it because it's just one time, but it was just one time 5 times that week. So we got to get emotional agility allows us to be sensitive, meaning sensitive to context. So then when you're sensitive, you can respond as the world is, not how we want it to be. Next slide.
Heuristics.
All right, heuristics.
Heuristics are mental shortcuts for solving problems in a quick way that delivers a result that is sufficient enough to be useful given time constraints. Most of our heuristics are millions of years old.
Okay, so heuristics are embedded into our psychology as humans and necessary for us to live. We need heuristics. We need them. Heuristics are basic rules of thumb that we use to shortcut things in our life. If we were to analyze every single detail of every single part of our life, we wouldn't get through the day. Or we wouldn't have bandwidth to think about the things that we want in life. We just barely get through the day. So if you have to think if the sun is coming up that next day, and to make sure that it's oxygen that you're breathing instead of any toxic gas, you use shortcuts. Shortcuts is smells like air is air. It's a shortcut. We prejudge. We make assumptions. And we use discernment everywhere we go to weed out what we want and what we don't want in life without all of the information. That's what a heuristic is. So heuristics are good and they're also very bad because that's how we can get caught up or get bamboozled. So if you see somebody driving a Lamborghini and he gets out that Lamborghini and he has on frosted chain on with his name frosted on it, and he got a Gucci top with some whatever the new brand is, jeans, purple, and he got on some $2,000 shoes and a Rolex watch, iced out. But he wants you. Your heuristics will go into calculation like, and how you treat him is going to be based on the rules of your heuristics. This is how it should go. And entrepreneurs say, because going back to the other slide where we talked about it, this game is counterintuitive. We say it means nothing. It means nothing. I don't give a shit what any of that is. If I'm going to make a decision, a major decision, I don't give a shit. I have to vet this and verify if this is what it could be. There's no, even if the spiritual woo-woo, intuitive people like me, it's still the same game. You know what I say? If intuition hit me, and my chakras told me that this is what I need to do, well then once I do my research, it should match up, right? My research and all my vetting should come back with a thumbs up too. It's not disrespectful to God to be like, God, you told me this that night. Okay, God, give me like a day to do my research. So don't use that as an excuse. As entrepreneurs, we have to do it. It's gonna all add up if it's really real like that. So, our heuristics, the way we move in life, that has to happen. But if we're smart over time, we can counteract that by doing our homework, doing our research. We're not getting bamboozled by what people tell us. I don't care. Like, being in this game for so long, when people come and try to sell me something or run game on me, I listen to none of it. None of it. Cool, that was dope. And sometimes they're shocked because they look at me like, wait, I just gave you my best work. And I'm like, all right, well, let's get to some real business then. Let's look at what you've done. Let's look at some homework. Let's look at some numbers. Let's look at your experience. Show me your resume. Who else have you done this for? Can I call them? Can I see the results from who else you've done it for? And they're like, oh shit. Well, yeah, that don't mean what you said don't mean shit to me. Cause I can't afford to be like, oh man, that's amazing. Sign us up. Be fucked. And you got to be the same. Guess what you'll be? Kind of an asshole. You'll be cold. It's kind of cold, but you'll be a great business person. So now we know what heuristics are. We know they're necessary. We have to use them, just like we have to make assumptions sometimes. But let's keep going.
Rigidity may come from the perfectly normal habit of taking mental shortcuts and accepting presumptions and rules of thumb that may have served you once in childhood, in a first marriage, at an earlier point in your career, but aren't serving you now. People can't be trusted. I'm going to get hurt.
So we have a great movie that we can watch right now in heuristics and rigidity. And that is these debates. You get to sit back and watch people be rigid about who they're going to vote for. Rigid. So I'm going to accept everything that this particular person says, and I'm going to fight for it. Entrepreneurs come on, blood. We don't do that. We don't do that. Like, you can have valid points and you can have valid points too. Entrepreneurs do not play in the or world. We play in the and world. Yeah, you can be this and that. Anybody ever play a game with you? Would you rather have this or I'd rather have both? If they're valuable to me, I'd rather have. That's not the game. Well, it's my game. I'd rather have both. Because if you play the or game, then you become rigid. Somebody tries to give you some advice on what to do, or if you keep bumping up against people, and it's always their fault, it's their fault, their fault, their fault, you stuck in a rigid place. You stuck in a rigid place. Because the mental shortcuts that you've taken and the presumptions and rules of thumb that you have are not serving you in this moment. And we can't move in life like that. Our rules of thumb are the things that got us in our own jails. Your rule of thumb, if your life is not where you want to be and you are stuck, It's your rules of thumb that are the bars of your own jail that's locking you up. And you created that shit. But this is right. It's true. This is what I learned in the streets. This is what my OGs taught me. This is what. All right, how your OGs doing? How the streets doing? There's a reason why. There's a reason why. Again, entrepreneurship is counterintuitive to all of that shit. We don't have an ability to play the general principle where I come from street game mentality and be in business at the same time. Not successfully anyway. Not successfully. And it sounds good. All that game sounds good. How's it working? How's it working? It ain't. So miss me with that shit. So what usually comes down to it, and what typically happens is we create these rules of thumbs that we adopt that make it easy for us. People can't be trusted. I'm going to get hurt. Why? Because I got hurt a couple times, 3 times in a row by people. So now my mindset says people can't be trusted. Why does our culture have a stigma attached to it by other cultures that are negative? Is because they have experienced things or watched things on TV that's perpetually negative, and they adopted the rule after a short amount of time, 1, 2, 3 times. Because Heuristics says, I don't have time or the bandwidth to be hurt by all you motherfuckers in order to find the one good one. So I'm going to create a rule of thumb that says, I don't care about the 10% or 15%. Not realizing that whole rule book that you have is off. Most humans, most of us, period, are good people. So all your heuristics, you got to evaluate them. You have to evaluate them because those are the ones holding you back. I'm telling you, I used to have one that says, I'm the introvert. I'm an introvert. I'm the creator in the background. I don't like being in the front. I really don't like people that much like that, like engaging with people. I don't want to go out. I don't want to go party. I don't want to go to the club. Fuck that shit. I'd rather be home and work. I don't like really engaging with people. Guess what? In entrepreneurship, that's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. So I've tried to mitigate that by building and hiring the extroverts to go do all the shit. Backfired because I needed the game too. I got to be out too. And once I start learning how to step out of that rule of thumb, that belief system, and start cracking it open, other ideas opened up to me. I started meeting people that wanted to help me. Certain cultures that I thought, I don't like them. Man, those are good people. They're nice people. That's not true. Like, our heuristics are fucking us up. I went to Texas a month ago. I had all kind of things in my head. I thought about Texas. My brain, everybody just walking on horses, riding horses past you. Man, those are some of the nicest, most hospitable people. The most hospitable people. So, understanding heuristics, how they work in your life. I know we're going through these terms, but I hope you're reading the book as we're going through these terms, where this is supplementing what you're reading and not the class for you. Emotional agility goes deep into this to help you understand how heuristics affect you. Next slide.
Emotional rigidity, getting hooked by thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that don't serve us, is associated with a range of psychological ills, including depression and anxiety. Meanwhile, emotional agility, being flexible with your thoughts and feelings so that you can respond optimally to everyday situations, is key to well-being and success.
It's just your thought. That just happened to you. Imagine, this is what helps me, is every time I think a thought, I follow that up with that. That's just your thought. There's a million other ways, a million other scenarios that are out there. You really want to stand on that? There's lots of other options. Do you really want to stand on that? Would you like to find out some other options before you make a case for this? That's my self-talk. Because before, it's in stone because I thought it. And I believe it and I feel it in my heart, we going with it. When that happens to me, time out. That's just your thought. What other options are out there? Would you like to learn other options before you stand on something? Yeah, let me find a couple. Oh shit, that's absolutely another alternative idea. Shit, I didn't think about that. And that's one too. Does 1 + 1 = 2? Sometimes. Not all the time. Not all the time. Once you get in this game, you realize 1 what plus 1 what. Because that's the sensitivity I'm talking about. In certain countries, high-level algebra, 1 + 1 = 1. Like it's all over the place, depending on where you're looking. No thing is absolute like that. Most things are relative. Most things are relative. We are, right now, as time has passed, we're in a new place in the universe. The earth has just moved into a new place in the universe that we've never been before. Because the earth is moving. Ain't nothing absolute. So as entrepreneurs, again, counterintuitive to our nature, we have to start training ourselves to think like that. Man. Did the customer really not like my product just because he threw it in the garbage? He took 2 bites and threw it in the garbage. Fuck, customer. You know what some of us will do? Customer walks in a restaurant, orders it on the menu. You give it to him. As you walking back in the kitchen, you look back, you see the customer takes 2 bites, throws it in the trash, walks out. You know what some of us will do? Take it off the menu. Take it off the menu. Did we talk to the customer? Did we ask? What you mean did I ask? It's self-explanatory. I watched what the customer did. Did you ask? Did you talk to the customer? I don't have to. Did you ask? Did you talk to the customer? That's one scenario, your scenario. Does anybody have any ideas what else it could have been? Emergency. Oh, I didn't think about that. Emergency. He had an emergency. Anything else? Is that it? Just 2?
No, you could have had pork in it.
Oh shit. I realized I ordered it and my fault. I ordered it. I'm not going to make you pay for it. That was my fault. And I don't eat pork. Shit. So no. I'm going to pay you, but it was my mistake. I ordered it. I didn't think of that either. Any others?
Trying to eat while nauseated.
I feel sick. I want to throw up. It has nothing to do with the food. It's just where I was when I got here. See how this game go? Some of y'all was like, damn. Yeah. Every scenario in business, when you're making decisions in business, gets like that. And guess what? When you run out of ideas, what's the best thing to do? Hey, bring somebody else in. Hey, what you think about this? Our friends are invaluable in that way. Hey, I want to run something by you. What you think about this? Damn, I didn't think that's a great, fuck, I didn't think about that. That's a good one. We do it in relationships with each other all the time. We have heuristics about how somebody's facial expressions, what they say, what they do. As soon as it happens, we come up with stories about what they're doing, and now we're ready to attack, not realizing or getting full information about what's actually happening. It's real shit. My girl, when she gets nervous, she laughs. So when we first got around her, like, is she fucking laughing at me? Like, the fuck? That shit wasn't funny. You laughing at me? Like, no, I'm not laughing at you. It's just, I'm working on it. When I get nervous, I laugh. It's a nervous tick. So now I'm like, oh, I stopped being offended by it. Then when my daughter came, she was like, are you laughing at me? My girl was like, no. Let me explain. You never know. Some things that can be completely logical to you has another turn of the sphere that gives it a different answer. Entrepreneurs, we don't think in these heuristics. We have to think counter to what our brain tells us. Ask, what do you mean by that? Oh yeah, Nana taught us this a long time ago. Before you jump to conclusions or make an assumption, hey, what do you mean by that? What's that? Why'd you do that? Before you get riled up. Keeps us in our level playing field emotionally. Next slide. Okay. This is where I wanted to go. Systems thinking. So you have system 1 and you have systems 2. So every human being we have, and there's different schools of thought. So I'm not going to argue with nobody on exactly what the newest school of thought is, but the majority of our behavioral scientists believe that we have system 1 brain and a system 2 brain, okay? And we move in life using the system 1 and system 2 in our everyday life. Next slide. So, go ahead.
System one thinking is a fast, automatic, and unconscious response to stimuli and situations that's often associated with emotions, intuition, and gut feelings. It's thought to be responsible for many of the quick decisions and judgments people make without much deliberation. So some examples are tying your shoelaces, knowing how to tie your shoelaces without thinking, or your stank face.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain that. So, system 1 thinking involves your heuristics. Your fight, flight, or freeze is inside your system 1. But here's the stank face example. Have you ever thought you were smiling and people was like, damn, why are you looking at me like that? Because your system 1 is like, fuck this bitch. And your system 2 is saying, be calm, smile, it's all good, just be nice, don't trip. But your system 1 is like mean mugging the hell out of them, and you don't have a mirror to know what your system 1 is making your face do. So you have to understand You have to understand that your system one is operating a lot of times without your permission. It's quick. No, you don't have to think about tying your shoe. You don't have to think about which leg you put your pants on because you've done it so many times. You don't have to think about how you brush your teeth. You don't have to think about. That's all using system one. If I say, stop, drop, shut them down, that's system one. It's already in there. It's quick. But if I say, what are the numbers after 3.14 in pi? You got to look that up. You got to think about it. So we are moving in our system ones most of the time. Cussing for me is system one. It's tough for me. Whether it's a big client or not, it's tough because I ain't had a boss since 2003. So I don't have the, oh shit, I ain't been to church since 1999. So like I've certain things that I have that I haven't had the pressure to do. My system one just starts creating these quick rules for myself without thinking. Let's go to the next slide.
System 2 thinking allocates attention to effortful mental activities that demand complex computations. It's used to solve more complicated problems, such as looking for a friend in a crowd, parking in a tight space, or determining the quality to value ratio of a lunch.
Okay. So, system 2 is a deeper thinking. It's research thinking. It's evaluation thinking. It's pattern recognition thinking. All those things are what's necessary for us as entrepreneurs. System 2, as a business person, is where we want to think from. If you want to buy a car at a dealership, if you're thinking walking in there with your system 1, you're going to get got. You're going to get got. You have to evaluate, man, I like this car, but let me come back to give my system 2 time to do its work. A lot of us move, and I've seen too many of us move, a lot of us move in system, and we all have moved in that way. System 1 thinking, you really and truly believe that this is the one. This idea is the one. We're going to make tons of money. This relationship is it right here. And us transferring that into business is a bad idea. Let's go back to the system 1 thinking slide. Now, you heard the term, go with your gut, right? This is going to be not popular to the outside world. Go with your gut. There are times in business where you are giving a limited amount of resources, but that's rare. Resources and time. You got to move. You're moving with heuristics. You're moving with historical information, what I call historical data. You're moving with common sense. You're moving with knowledge, and you also have a gut that tells you things. Some can move with intuition, right? Now, if we over rely on these things, if we over rely on our gut feeling in business, what we're doing is we're going to crap out, because the law of probabilities is going to prove to you that long-term thinking and spreading out a problem or an idea or a goal and filling it with the best ideas and turning it all on its axis to understand where the best solutions are is where you need to go. And you can't do that with a quick all the time decision-making skill. You cannot do it. Entrepreneurship, we make mistakes a lot anyway. That's this part of the game. Us making mistakes is gonna happen. Making choices, business decisions. But you gotta understand, we have to give ourselves the highest probability, the highest law of probability, and that comes down to how we evaluate the decisions we make. So, system 1, system 2. Any questions on that? Everybody's clear on system 1, system 2? All right. That's all I got. A little early.
But you want to give our closing points and go to the restroom?
Oh, okay. You gotta go to the restroom. We're gonna take a 2-minute. We're gonna have a 2-minute question break. Ended a little early. Sabisha.
Am I loud? Sorry, I'm just not used to hearing myself so loudly. I missed the point that you were making around rigidity and emotional rigidity. So rigidity being mental shortcuts. What makes them powerful is that it's mental shortcuts, but it's also that they've worked in the past, right? So you have a rule of thumb that actually in a past context, not too shabby. I'll keep that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have emotional rigidity, which I'm assuming so emotional rigidity, like you're hooked, right? So that's a way to say it, but that is not having, what is the connection that you were making to those two?
So emotional agility is a flexibility to make the best decision in the moment, regardless of past patterns. Emotional rigidity is using past patterns to create your outer world and to create your decision-making skills. So if you put your hand on a hot stove and you burn it, there are some people who won't go in the kitchen again. Not only not use the stove again, but won't step foot in the kitchen. And now they walk around like, oh, no, I don't walk in kitchens. I don't go in kitchens. Wait, what? They look crazy. I don't go in kitchens. Like, and we do this in our world all the time. We create these worlds around us based on what people say or things that happened or occurred in 2 minutes or 2 times, and now our rigidity creates this new world for us. Last question. Yeah. Okay.
Yo. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? Wake up, you know what I'm saying? Shake it off. I got some shit to say today. I ain't scared of none of you mothers. I got some get something off my chest. Just one small thing. This week, I've had a couple of conversations with different people. And the conversation went like this. They would say to me, Nana, I need to work on becoming an entrepreneur or growing my business or whatever it is. Can I talk to you? And you know, can I just be truthful? It's almost like I'm an asshole. There's no fucking value in that conversation. Okay. So I'm sure a lot of you guys been following my journey on weight loss. And I stopped eating sugar, what was it, about 5 months ago or 6 months ago, whatever, I lose time. And I think I announced last year I was gonna start losing weight, right? Losing weight is not going to the gym and having a great workout. Losing weight is not eating healthy a day or two here and there. Losing weight is not wearing plastic bags trying to do extra sweating. That's for the OGs. But losing weight is a rhythm. It's a fucking rhythm. Like when you first start changing your eating habits, you gotta change the rhythm of your old eating rhythm to your new eating rhythm. So for example, maybe at nighttime when you was gaining weight, you ate some cake, right? So now when you say I'm gonna start losing weight, nighttime hit, your brain be like, damn, what about that cake, right? And then when you start trying to eat healthy, your brain has to get used to, oh, we're stopped eating at 7 now? It takes like months to kind of make that where it's just almost your default, right? Now, when it's your default, when somebody try to give you like, say, cake at nighttime, you be like, hey, man, I'm not feeling that. And if you try to eat it, it's almost disruptive because you're in a new rhythm. Now, you can get back to the other rhythm because if you slip enough times, you'll lose rhythm and go back to your old rhythm, your default rhythm, right? So weight loss is a rhythm. Working out is a rhythm. Working out is not, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to have a super hard workout, I train with this person, I'm sore all week long, oh my God, I'm so sore. And you didn't do shit. You really didn't do shit. All you did was introduce yourself to pain, and sometimes it even creates a deterrent because when you experience that pain, you say to yourself, I can't keep going through this shit to lose some goddamn weight. It got to be an easier way. I need a peel, operation, or a rubber band or something, right? And what you'll discover is that if you want to change the shape of your body, you have to fall into an eating and working out rhythm. There is no single workout that has any value to you. There's no single meal that has any value to you. Matter of fact, to me, you know what you sound like? Somebody on cocaine who's a vegetarian. It's like he's self-defeating, absolutely self-defeating because you don't see that health is a complete ecosystem. So when you talk to me about business, this is a myth. It doesn't work like that. I can say what the fuck I say to you. If you don't have a rhythm, now if you have a rhythm and you talk to me and you enter something I say into the rhythm to kind of help you tweak and improve your rhythm, that's one thing. But if you have zero entrepreneurial rhythm, you live your life, your best life, that's based upon what I want to do. Let me tell you where I comes from. Have you ever went to somebody and say, hey, they say, Nana, how you dropping this weight? And I say, well, I'm not eating added sugars. Well, I like my cupcakes. Then what the fuck you talking to me for? Why you even ask me? Because a lot of people are looking for tricks and like magic tricks, like just tricks and techniques that just one, two steps and all of a sudden my weight just falls off. And I just ain't been doing this 1, 2 step. Not realizing sometimes your eye destroys your ability to engage your personal rhythm. You'll say, well, I like this and I personally feel like this and I've always been like that and I, leaving no room for no fucking changes. Everything you want to do, business, anytime you want to build something, let's say tomorrow, let me tell you something that kills me. This is some Oakland shit here too. So for y'all that's not from Oakland online, this is some Oakland shit. Yo, I'm gonna start working on myself when I get some time. The fuck you talking about? It doesn't work that way. Like, when you first change your rhythm, it is all friction based because your default is that way. And when you decide you want to go this way, do you realize, okay, have you ever been a motherfucker who's busy, who's broke? That's a lot of motherfuckers in Oakland. They hella busy and broke as a motherfucker. They always, I gotta check my schedule. Why do you even have a fucking schedule? Bank of America says you should be totally free like a hippie. But you walk around like you hella busy, right? You know why you busy? Because you haven't controlled your yeses and nos and your engagement and being in the moment. Matter of fact, a lot of times you're living for, what would I say, status currency over real currency. And a lot of times you're saying yes to achieve status over achieving resources. What I mean by this is that you become more popular, you become more known, you're more seen, you're more acceptable, you're more valued, but you're still broke as fuck. Right? At some point, you have to gain control of your yeses and nos. Your yeses and nos. By controlling the yeses and nos, what happens is that eventually you get to the point where you then control your attention and your time. But because a lot of you guys don't control your attention and time, somehow you guys want to change direction with very little time investment. So you guys want to say, okay, I'm going to go this way when I get some free time. I'm going to work on myself. I come to class. I read these books. I put my study time in when it gets to that point, right? Then you have the motherfucking audacity to stop me while I'm on my way to go get me some drinks to say, hey, Nana, can I talk to you a second? I want to talk to you about some business. And I'm getting to a point where y'all got to, I'm about to be 57. So, September 28th, I turn 57. Y'all about to get the 57-year-old version of me. I'm going to start acting like them old people just say what the fuck they want to say and look at you like, what, I'm older now, right? But I'm going to start telling people, like, what the fuck do you want me to say to you? What, Jesus, well, and I'm out? That's all we want to say. Like, what am I supposed to say to you to help your life get better? Right? Okay, that's all I got. Hopefully, they've been doing that for years. Maybe something works for you. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, if you don't want to join a rhythm, that's why when people say, I'm going to come to your class, they really think they're going to come to class and hear some magical recipe and then go out there and just cook that same recipe every fucking day. And it's going to continue to work. It doesn't work like that. And that doesn't even work in cooking. If you decide you want to be a great chef, right, and you develop this cool recipe, it won't scale. You're going to have to master the art of how to produce this item from one person to 1,000 people. And the way you produce it for 1,000 people is not the same way you produce it for one person. So if you don't understand the principles of scale, if you don't understand the principles of what you're cooking and how it ties to and how it's integrated to other principles, then what you end up doing is you become this one-trick pony that has one day of success. Or you may walk into a boardroom one day and say something that make people say, oh, that's very brilliant. But if they give you that promotion, you're fucked. Because you don't have that fucking rhythm. So people, like, Donna, can I join you at the gym? What the fuck for? If you ain't gonna come all the time, what the fuck you gonna join me at the gym for? You gonna bring your ass there, get sore for a fucking day, and be fucking depressed. Like, just keep your happy, depressed ass home until you're ready to change your rhythm. But stop playing this game as if, because here's the other side of that argument, is when you think like that, you think that when people are successful, either they got Illuminati, they were lucky, they got hooked up, they must have had some gay sex or some shit like that. That's why he got all that money. There's always these stories that people tell themselves from a space of envy. What, you think I'm lying? Hey, y'all think I'm lying? That shit's real. Hey, the black community is so cold. Get rich in the black community and watch how they come up with all these reasons why you're rich, right? No, it's not a pause. I didn't say that. It's not a pause. I'm not bringing out how people think. Yeah. I'm saying, like, when you look at how people gain resources, we come up with all these reasons why people are making money. Even we start saying the rich people, it's because we don't understand that they're in a different rhythm. Like Court alluded to it, like he alluded to the frequency that rich people are on, right? That so when you see a rich person, they're in a different frequency, they're in a different rhythm, they have a different group of practices, they have a different use of their time, the use of their attention. They don't fit all the most popular, trendy ways of moving. And yet, when somebody comes to me and I tell them, well, if you want to talk to me about business, I got to talk to you about how to get yourself in a rhythm. And they almost get bored. Like, oh, that's not what I came to you for. Then I have to tell you, okay, so you want to get into business? Join a group that you're never going to leave, or join a team, a group of people, or get into a practice of always learning. Okay, let me give you an example of what that means, what I just said to somebody. Imagine I got a chance to play basketball with Steph Curry for one day. He scored 400 points to one foul. All I have is one foul to his 400 points. I didn't score nothing, right? Just say I played against Steph Curry. I played that one day, and let's say I had a great workout with him. I learned hella shit. That's like me going to the NBA tomorrow and be like, yo, so, I played with Steph yesterday. You got a spot for me in the roster? What's up? No. Now, if I played with him since I was 12 and I'm now 25, it's a possible chance because the practice have evolved because of the practice. But if I play with him for one day, Or if I hung out with him for 1 week or 1 month. Some of y'all will read one book and all of a sudden y'all business gurus. Some of y'all so cold. Let me tell you how so cold this shit is, and this is going to be my last point. Some of y'all so motherfucking cold will read 2 books and now y'all teachers. I'm keeping the shit 100. Ain't built shit. Still trying to organize your drawers in a drawer because you ain't got no money. And yet you still over here trying to tell people how to do shit. So I just need y'all, like this shit, because I'm promising you, some shit I'm experiencing this week, like people come to me like, as if I'm going to say some magical shit out my mouth, and people be like, wow, now I understand business because the great guru gave me science. No, stop watching fucking Lord of the Rings and talking to me at the same time. I'm not another fucking Lord. This is not magical shit. This is work. This is practice. Now, when a motherfucker practices all the time, you look like Steph Curry in business. You just turn around sometimes and throw a shot behind you, like, how the fuck you make that? You don't realize how hard we practice in business. So when you see somebody performing consistently over a long period of time, even if they fall, let's say a person runs for 5 or 10 years and they fall, you see them climb back up, and they go again. That person's fucking amazing. Because even the greatest players will have bad games, right? But when you see somebody who's able to sustain a level of performance, there's a hidden practice behind that performance. There's always a hidden practice behind that performance. It's just that talking about practice is just not sexy because nobody wants to hear it. If somebody walks up to me tomorrow and say, "Now, what's your practices?" People be like, "Wrap it up." But if I tell them about the last business deal I did, "Oh, really? You should write a book." Oh, go kill your fucking self. It's trash. This shit is not, look, my blood is your blood. The same blood goes to my veins, go through your veins. There ain't no, I'm not special to you. But I will look special as fuck if I'm practicing while you partying. It's just that fucking simple. You start thinking, oh, he's gifted and he's special. No, I'm just practice. And my discipline grows. Look, when I first started, I didn't have this kind of discipline. If a bad one walked in front of me when I was 23, you lost. I'm gone. I could be working on Einstein theory about to save the world. If a bad one walks in past me in 23, the world's about to die because I'm about to go get that one, right? As I got older, by the time I hit 30 something, I don't know, I can't remember. 30 something, I changed my rhythm. I can go to certain lights because somebody be like, what about, okay, gotta give me some room. But the point is this, that as I got older, I developed and I grew into my disciplines. I had to build my discipline. I wasn't born, I'm not naturally disciplined. Look at my high school track record. You'd be like, yeah, he wasn't disciplined. I won school flirt of the year. Every class, if you were sitting in class doing your homework, you would see down the walking with a different woman every hour going down the hallway. You'd be like, this cat is off the chains, right? I had no discipline. I had traction and that's all I had. I had gift the gab, that's why I won. But the point is this, no discipline. I grew and developed discipline, right? Everything that I am is a practice. I wasn't born a great father. I practiced this. I wasn't born, there's a lot of things that I have, skills I have that I'm really strong at now. They're practice. I'm not special. Everybody in this room could be greater than me if they just tighten up their practice game. But if you're lazy in your practice game, your bank account looks lazy. Your bank account looks like it needs to be resuscitated. But if you want to have a strong bank account, move differently, practice different. And it doesn't happen the first day. You ain't gonna lose no motherfucking weight the first day you get serious about working out. You can go spend $5,000 on equipment for working out right now. You can call everybody in your family and say, hey, this is it. I'm not eating no more cake. I'm done with this sugar shit. I'm done with everything. You can sit there and go through a ritual where you pray on your knees and talk about weight reduction. And guess what? You fat that day. You fat next week. You fat almost a year later. But can you continue to push forward although you still fat? That's how this business is the same thing. When you first start business, you still broke. You got the title, everybody calling you entrepreneur, some of you calling you by your last name only, your business card's hella fly, you got some dope ass branding, your website hella tight, and you broke. Can you continue to push the process and let the process itself yield its results? Are you so short-sighted you can't see long distance? What they say is steer high, right? When you drive a car, learn to steer high, which is you look at what's in front of you, but you look at what's coming up down the road to understand how to deal with what's in front of you. A lot of you guys only see the challenge right in front of yourself, meaning that you're always blaming, oh, I can't believe this happened to me, because you steer too low. Steer high. Pay attention to what's in front of you, further down the road. And I promise you, the way this shit works, there's no instant gratification. People who are performing at high levels and sustaining success, they put a lot of hidden time in. Meaning all the fairs and festivals you at, all the parties you at, all the little wine get-togethers, all the little Napa, little massage times, all the little hanging out with that little special one at 12 o'clock because nothing else happened before then, all that kind of stuff you was doing. The other person was reading and studying and working on shit and failing and fixing problems and adjusting and learning their own personal weaknesses and growing. And all of a sudden, one day you discover when they hit a certain level, you're like, oh yeah, man, I known that person. We went to high school together, skip over the last 20, 30 years, and then think, I don't understand why he's successful, I'm not successful. It's no comparison, baby. Your practice is showing up. You good at getting at them, that's all you had in your life to show for it. You good at drinking? Look how much wine you done digested and how much alcohol, how much Hennessy you done hit. Right? Like, oh, I can hold my liquor. Obviously, you practice a lot. I see you. You know, we don't get to me like that. A lot of practice. So I'm just saying to y'all, like, cut that bullshit out like some magic guru's gonna talk to you. And there's another thing too with this mentor shit. Mentors, like, it's better to have an exemplar than a mentor. Before you talk about a mentor, nobody wants to talk to your ass if you ain't putting no work in. Nobody want to mentor somebody that's just not putting no work in. You ever try to talk to somebody that if I give you advice, your ass break down, I got to build you back up, I'm not going to keep talking to you. Like, I ain't got time to be like, 1 + 1 is 2. So I'm trying to get back to algebra. Let's go over the basics of math first because you don't put no time in. Like, business ain't social justice heaven. It's fast-moving people with a lot of information who wants to help other people, but they ain't got time to help you. You got to help yourself, and then they want to help you. People help those who help themselves. All right? That's my fussing moment for the day, because I promise you, some of the shit I dealt with this week was crazy. All right, Shabish, you ready for this shit?
Yes.
All right, we're doing reciprocity today. I don't want nobody getting all sensitive, but hey, y'all got to pay attention to reciprocity because I want to show you how much power you guys have that you never knew you had. And I don't think no one's ever described this to you. Now, if I get through this process, I want you guys to tell me if you actually knew this or not. I want you guys to be honest with me. Don't sit here and try to be famous or get status for me because I ain't gonna give you none. All right, ready?
Yep.
Let's go. Next slide.
Consider the tackle in American football. The force that the defender puts on the receiver's body in order to bring him to the ground is equivalent to the force felt by the defenseman's body during the tackle.
Now, mind you, we went over this last week, but I'm going to just add a little piece to this. Keep going.
You can't initiate force without having a force put on you.
For a second, real quick, pause. Black people, I'm going to talk to us for a second. My Latino cousins and my Asian cousins, my Irish cousins, my Jewish cousins out there who's with the class, even my Anglo-Saxon cousins out there. Just to stay with me because this does apply to you. I don't have the context to speak, or I may not know your history. But let me talk to my people who I have history with for a second. That defensive energy that we're putting out there, this is to be quick because I've showed this over the years. We're more defensive as a culture than we are offensive. If you ask black people what's wrong with our community, I would have problems stated on every. There wouldn't be a wall that would be empty without problems written on every wall, right? And I say, okay, y'all. Now, what's the solutions? We would barely fill up that corner. I don't think we would cap by five lines, right? Meaning that we've been in defensive because slavery, Jim Crow, we had to defend it. That was part of our survival, being defensive, right? We haven't shifted to our offensive culture. When we shift to offensive culture, that's a culture that moves in the mindset of freedom. Because offensive thinking is required to be free, right? But here's the problem with black people when we're playing defensive. It's kind of like we're self-defeating. You're putting the energy of defense out there. But guess what you're also doing? You're blocking opportunities. Every time you move in a defensive space, think about all the shit you're blocking. And don't think you can see what you're blocking because opportunities are not to be seen until they arrive. So a lot of times you're blocking relationships, opportunities, insights. You're blocking so many strategies. You're blocking so many different things in your defensive mind. So even though defensive gets you status currency in our community, defensively keeps you trapped in the limitations of our community. See, being black here's my definition of being black. I live my life to grow, to impact, improve other black people's lives. But being black doesn't mean I copy and paste all of our bad habits. Is I improve for the next generation, because the next generation, for example, like my daughter doesn't really get slavery yet. And as the generations move further and further away from slavery, it's not gonna have the same weight. I get slavery a little bit more personal because my great grandmother who was still alive was part of that culture system. So her mother was a slave, and then she was a house, like she would clean houses and for the big houses, right? So it's very relevant to me. And then also I was born in '67. So, heavy racism, '70s, heavy racism. Even when I was a kid, I remember when I was coming to Alameda, the police would run me out of Alameda. Get your black ass up, but they would use the N-word out of here, right? But as we build more of a privilege-based society for the next generation, they can become less and less and less and less and less in tune. So it's not good enough just to say we have to protect ourselves or defend ourselves from slavery to define our blackness. Our blackness has to be also similar to what the founding fathers did of this country on where we want to go. Hope, our intent, right? And so a lot of times we're putting all this defensive energy out there and we don't realize it has a cost. You don't get to be defensive all the time and it doesn't have a cost. And the problem is that we can't pay that cost. Because think about if I came to help you, just let's make it one-on-one. I come to your house, Kaja, to come help you out. As I'm trying to help you out, you're constantly giving me defensive energy. How many days do you think I'm gonna keep coming back? Not many. You see what's going on? So, and you want to try to tell me that every white person wakes up in the morning to destroy your life? That doesn't make any equation. That doesn't even equate, right? That's not even possible. You want to tell me every Asian person, Latino person, LGBTQ plus person, everybody just wakes up in the morning trying to destroy your life? That's not possible, right? So if you move through this world in a negative space, you're missing so many opportunities because you're too damn defensive. Let's roll.
For the tackle, this is very important. If the defenseman felt nothing, there would be no incentive for him to be strategic in the application of his force on the receiver.
Pause real quick. This is critical. It's really small, but hear me out. This is very, very important. In business, you're going to have to battle sometimes. Yeah, because offense and defense is both required, right? Just has that alignment, it just has a person who's tackling the wide receiver or tackling the running back. That person has to think about, how do I take this person down with the least amount of damage to myself? When you move through life, learn to move in business as you defend yourself, as you drive policies, as you fight inertia to reduce personal damage. To go straight at something head to head, you suffer. How do you win the same end result with the least level of impact on yourself? If you scream at somebody, you went head to head with somebody. Once again, how do you get to a point in business where the force you apply or whatever technique you use minimum amount of force against yourself to achieve a greater force against the thing that you're conquering? That's a strong strategy, but trust me when I say this, it will change the way you respond to everything that's happening around you. So when things happen to you, you were like, let's say Yapasu walks in the office and he pisses me off, right? If I just instantly respond, I'm going force to force. That means I'm taking damage by attacking him back or suppressing him or whatever I'm trying to do to fight him off, right? How do I sit there, pause the moment, and almost like judo, use his force against him? You see the concept there? So in the end, his force becomes his force becomes his personal attack, and I walk away with the least amount of damage, which means allows me to have more resources for what I want to invest my time in. But going head to head and screaming, getting mad, and getting frustrated and arguing with people, that's too elementary. It's too fucking elementary. The higher level is, here comes force. So that's why my techniques of asking a question is taking your force and throwing the force back at you. Well, what could I have done better? And what would you think? And I always say, well, this is what I was thinking about. This was what I was thinking. What would you suggest I have done differently? Well, I didn't. So did you really think that was the best way to walk into my office? No. See how I'm using your force now? Your force is creating guilt. I'm good. I'm about to go eat a sandwich so this meeting's over. But now you're going to go home and feel like, man, I really feel sorry. You texted me. I really feel bad about the way I walked to your office, jamming you up. I didn't have no idea. I had my own perspective limitations. And I'm sitting there going, oh, man, hey, no problem, no trip. Hey, man, can I get some more of that ice cream? I don't really give a shit because I'm not allowing your force to become my force. Otherwise, if you're taking everybody's force on directly, you're a human being. You have emotional limitations. By the end of the day, you're crushed. And if I crush you, all your decisions moving forward is compromised. How do you move differently? Here's another thing too. This is a precursor to the next level of strategy. When you learn to move in a different rhythm than the forces coming at you, you can see strategy faster. Have you ever been like, Core just highlighted this. You get to a certain emotional level and you result to a natural instinctual response, right? So if somebody comes at you, you go into fight mode. You're not thinking about, wait a minute, does this even make sense to fight somebody? Like road rage. You're not even thinking about this shit, right? You just go into fight mode. When you can get to a point where you can use their energy against them, you keep practicing in that way, then when something happens, you can see all the plays as the energy's coming your way and call it in real time, not in hindsight when you get home. Do you know how cold that is? Like today, this lady cut me off on the road. She was doing way too much. So I was like, and she's like, yeah. I said, she got madder the more I dismissed her. I don't care. I'm not doing this with you. Keep it moving. You're not even qualified to talk to me. I don't know who you are. There's no value. I don't get no wins. Keep it moving. I'm like, poor baby, you got to deal with all that? I'm not matching your force with force. Now, matching your force with force, I'm like, what'd you say, bitch? Let me out this car. Now I'm losing. See, because I'm taking a loss because I'm matching force with force. The more you get, so while it's going on, my brain's going, now, let me tell you the difference. The old me been like caught up in the fight mode, and all I would thought about is, I wish this bitch would, right? So I wouldn't have thought mother, sister, wife. I wouldn't have thought none of that stuff. Just I wish this bitch would. The more I practice the art of reducing matching forces, the more when things happen, my brain goes, what she said to you? No, is it really worth your time? If you match her, you're back in that space. Oh, you know what? Dismiss it. The best way to match this force with a counter force to give her force back, dismiss it. Because she's giving me force to what? Create a reaction. When I say, hey, I don't have a reaction. A cop pulled me over one night. And I said, yo, my man, thanks for pulling me over, bro. What did I do wrong? Because I appreciate that, man. I appreciate structure in my city. He was like, okay. Well, you were kind of going kind of fast. And I was like, my bad, man. Hey, man, if you got to give me a ticket, I totally get it. He goes, hey, man, just slow down, man. He couldn't even process it. His brain was like, shit, you just, as opposed to matching his force, like, why you pull me over? See, now I'm taking the loss because now I'm going to start create this meaning-making machine in my head, and now I'm going to walk away saying, he hated me, he was. I don't see the bigger picture. So I'm saying to you guys, like, learning to use judo in a friction moment changes the whole freaking dialogue, all right? Go ahead, finish the slide.
And who would actually want to be a receiver if this were the case? If the guy who initiates the force feels nothing, much better to be him.
What did it say? Read that last point.
If the guy who initiates the force feels nothing, much better to be him.
When you can get to a point when you're in a situation and you can use force strategically without having feelings behind it, dangerous. Dangerous. A general in a war, that's how they move. They're not using force pound for pound. They will use force as a tactic, meaning that when I do use force in business, it is planned. It is strategically thought out. I'm not using force like, Usually if I use force, I'm disrupting, I'm moving something in a certain direction, I'm creating a shift. But at some point, I'm not using force in the context of just an emotional reaction to a reaction. Otherwise, I take losses. So if you find yourself being triggered a lot, the problem of being triggered is that you're taking hits every time you have a trigger. So it's not a moral commitment to the person that's in front of you. It's a commitment to yourself. You guys get that? Does that make sense to everybody? So I brought them some help. No, you brought yourself some damage. I cussed him out. Yeah, and you emotionally are fucked up right now. Matter of fact, some people are trapped in the world of all their attacks. Let me say this again. Some people are trapped in the world of their attacks on others. When you understand reciprocity, that shit makes so much sense. Let's keep going.
Since this is not the case, the tackle is more about using the least amount of force required to bring the receiver to the ground.
There you go. Good, go ahead.
It's better for the receiver, and it's also better for the guy doing the tackling, because the more force you apply to others, the more damage you do to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Reciprocity can be summed up like this. When you act on things, they act on you.
It's that simple. That's simple. I cuss a motherfucker out. Yep, your life is ugly. I fight for what I believe in. Yep, your life is exhausting. I don't let nobody run me over. Yep, you don't have many people in your life, do you? All these energies that you're putting out there that's so defensive, you got to learn the cost of those things. You don't live in a world where you get to do what the fuck you want. So it just doesn't work like that. The world wasn't built just for you. I know our ego tells us that all the time. You're in a system. You're joining a group of, joining systems where you're part of rivers. You don't get to be the rock that tells the river, go the other way. Don't put no water on me. Go the other way. At the end of the day, you're impacted by the fucking forces around you. So yeah, go ahead and be like, I don't give a shit, or you know what, I don't trust these kind of people, or even social justice fragility. That shit's fucking you up. Powerful people don't like fragile people. They just don't. They don't. They're exhausting to us. But like, oh my God, one more of them sad ass stories, I'm gonna die. We start hiding from you. You know, last week I was out and I was with my kids at Disneyland. You know, something came over me. I almost started crying while I was there. Mickey Mouse was trying to pat me on the back. But you know what? I pulled myself together and played out with my kids. I'm already looking at you like, why the fuck are you talking to me? And every time you come around, watch all of a sudden I got something to do. You come in the backyard, you realize I'm out there with a laptop. Oh, you still here? I'm not fucking with you. I'm not fucking with you on no level. No, I had clients who were weak, and I told the employees, you talk to them. I don't talk to them. Ask Mashama. I've had weak clients who were weak as fuck, and then when they finally caught up with me, I told them to their face, you know, you're really weak. And I did it on purpose, because their fragile ass got all this fragile surrounding support. Make me the bad guy, but guess what? You're not gonna talk to me no more. Keep going. Next slide.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Always know that. Everything you do in business, for every action, also for the positive side. This is why I walk around smiling and being kind. I have a friend named Eddie Porter. Eddie Porter's an amazing chef, right? He's been on TV and all kind of stuff. If you ever meet Eddie Porter, he's the nicest, one of the nicest people. If you're around Eddie and you don't know him, you'll have a great time, right? Opportunities land on Eddie's lap all the fucking time. You know why? Because he put that energy out there. Those of you who are putting like, I don't talk to people like that. That's why opportunities don't talk to you either. Oh, I don't like people like that. Yeah, and that's why you broke. Because you get money from other people. You know that, right? You don't get money from the guys who come down, knock on your door while you're in bed with the cover. You be like, hey, I left you a few $1 million before I left out of here. I'm going on a trip with Jesus. I'll be back next week. No. There's a reason you broke. I'm trying to show you where you have power. Next slide.
What we give. It would be amazing if every time you did something good for the world, you received a corresponding amount of positive effect in your life.
Okay, this is so fucking powerful. Okay. Scarcity, and those of you who are not givers, and most people who are suffering from scarcity are not givers. And matchers are takers, right? Givers are highly rewarded people, right? But givers know something that most takers and matchers don't know. Is givers know that every time you give, you don't get back. There's a rule where givers say don't loan it if you can't give it away. We don't loan it with the intent of always getting it back. When we go to help people in the community, we're giving for us. We can't give for you because we already know that shit don't come back. But for takers and for matchers, you guys get triggers, be like, this is why I don't. And you guys will go years without even giving anybody else. But here's the cost of that. You would think, so? Yes, but you guys understand this, okay. For that tree to yield me fruit, I need to fertilize it and give it water. But if I'm not willing to give it anything, it's not willing to give me nothing back. So the first time you have a bad tree in your garden, you don't water any more of your trees? I want y'all to think how this is how y'all moving. I talk to people like all the time, like, oh, I don't give because, I've been burned so many times. Well, maybe you don't know how to maybe you're a horrible gardener. Maybe you need to learn how to garden correctly. You're not getting burned. The universe is telling you your movement is wrong. But giving is a must. You guys go with this? It's like you use these heuristic-based ass, weak-ass stories of why you don't give and don't realize, oh, I ain't got much to give. You always have something to give. A giving economy is a strong economy. Keep rolling.
Sorry, that just messed me up. Where was I at?
We all know.
We all know that unfortunately this is not true. Mm-hmm. Sometimes positive intentions produce negative results.
So you could be the most positive, good person in the world and still have hard shit, fake shit. People rob you. People, you could be the mayor of Oakland doing all the greatest things for black people, and somebody come to your house and take all your shit. That's real fucking talk. That's real talk. Like, you could be the nicest person in the world just because you got to. Being a giver doesn't mean that you're not strategical, right? Like, me and Mashama was in a situation where we found somebody who we thought, you know what, they came from the bottom, now they're here. We want to give them a chance, and they failed us horribly. And Mashama said, we got to cut these fucking stories out of our head. Learn to see the person in front of us. Are they qualified or not? Can they perform or not? Are they good learners or not? If they're not good learners, fuck them. Y'all might say, well, no, that's a quick lesson. That's a lesson. That lesson right there just put thousands of dollars back in your pocket if you understand it. Because somebody's going to hire somebody one day and your story's going to have them up for sitting in the office because I'm a giver and I'm trying to give this person an opportunity and this is why you broke. You just gave thousands. When you look at, okay, let's say you keep a person for 1 year and you give them 60 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, right? If you had cut them the first month, you would have saved 90 grand, 80 grand. Are you 90 something grand? Are you fucking serious? But you couldn't. You know why? Because these stories, because giving is not a one-to-one. You could be a giver and people can steal. You could be a giver and takers are in your midst robbing you while you give into the community. And you wonder, why is my pot not as large as it's supposed to be? Because while you're giving, takers are hitting you and you don't see them because your heart is such a giver. Givers require strategical thinking. Roll.
Or bad things happen to people who do good things for others. Mm-hmm. Although the connection between good deeds and a good life is imperfect.
So good deeds and good life performing good deeds does give you a good life, but it's not perfect. That's a key word. You can be a good person doing good stuff, know that you're going to have bad incidents, even though you're a good person doing good stuff. However, the ratio and your probability will lean towards you having a good life. The word probability mean that not all the time, ratio, mean that more than less, more likely you will have more are better days than you will have bad days. You will have a much more rich life than poor life, but doesn't mean that you won't have a poor moment, right? Like, I can show up for, like, how many times have you seen activists who show up for the community but one of their family members is gone? Just because you're intelligent, you do the work, doesn't mean everybody in your life will be like, oh my God, I listen to you, and this is why all of our lives are in alignment. This is why the children of some great leaders is trash. Okay, good going.
So there is a documented relationship between the two. Using the model of reciprocity can help us understand why people benefit themselves when they work for what they believe is good.
Thank you. So as you work for, key, listen to this. This is key. 510 Media had its biggest financial surge, meaning we went from this number, say 20 grand a year, to $500,000 a year. The more we committed to what we believed in, meaning that as we served the community more and more and more, the community through reciprocity rewarded 510 Media more and more and more and more. But once again, as you serve the community, you still got to be strategic, right? Because there's different perspectives and different translations. But a large portion of our growth, when we were just focused on doing a great job, we were slowing down our growth because of what we were putting in the world. This is why 510 Media teaches all these different classes, and from photography to business to designs. This is why when we get free time, we donate something back to the community. Matter of fact, most of the stuff I'm teaching in this class, I charge clients for. But I turn around and I give it back to my community. And you might say, well, are you gonna, why are you giving away your product? Because giving, good life comes from giving. Business growth comes from giving. A business that moves when I tell you, self-preservation doesn't give a shit about selfishness, right? If you want to survive in this world, you have to become selfless. When your business becomes selfless, you grow faster. When your business is selfish, you'll see. It's a rough game. Let's go. Next slide.
Give and take, tit for tat. If you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
By the way, this is a cold strategy. Stay with me on this strategy. Some of y'all might not get this one. If you don't, ask questions. Go ahead.
The meaning behind these expressions, which implies an expectation of reciprocity, is perhaps best summed up by another Latin phrase.
Do it this.
Yes. Translated as, I give so that you may give.
Okay. Keep going. I want to play with this for a second. Keep going.
Wait, did I go back? Okay. What do you get when you give? What kind of tensions are created when two forces interact?
So, how do you get the client to come to your business? How do you even make money? Right? There's a point in business where giving is just as important as selling. Right? Like, when Bake Sale Betty's first opened up, she did the same thing that, what was the fish company owned by a black dude back in the days? Jesso's. Jesso's and Bake Sale Betty did something that was amazing. If you was at Bake Sale Betty and you waited in a line, just by the way, a black company did this first. First time I experienced with a black company. If you was waiting in line and the line got long, they would come out and give everybody cookies. Fresh baked cookies that they made. Right? Every time. Matter of fact, you start saying, damn, the cookie's good. I want that line long when I get there. Right? He was so good. Now, they don't have to do it forever. Or Justice would do this thing where if you waited too long, he'd say, what else you want? I got you, because you should never have to wait that long in my business. Right? Companies that know how to give strategically are using reciprocity for a great return. The way you get people to go get other customers for you is you have a giving personality. Let's say Shakina's training somebody and the session is over and they're like, yo, I'm having a problem, I needed it. She's like, yo, just give me a call on Saturday, I got some time, or my next break, I got some time, and let's take a 5-minute time, let's talk about that situation. That person's like, yo, you gave me that kind of time? That person now becomes an official salesperson for her company. But let's say she says, if you need to talk to me, I can charge you like another $200 for that this next 5 minutes, and I can do special consultation because I went to school for that. It's going to at least be $200, and everything's a charge. Everything's a charge because you're looking at protecting yourself. You don't realize you're also cutting off all your salespeople. So you got to learn how to integrate. I can't tell you how many times I've called the office and say, can we design this for free for this person? Or can we design it at cost for this person? Right? We make those calls. Am I lying, Danielle? Every once in a while I may give a call, hey, I can't get this done for free. Can you put this person in class for free? Right? That give tone is actually a strategical move to build loyal people who will go out their way to protect your brand. But if you're in a situation where it's all about getting yours, I don't give a shit if your product's solid as hell. When you send somebody, I went to Cantor's to look for some seats for a desk, for a conference table. So I said, hey man, how much for, if I buy, because these are used office chairs. So I said, if I buy like 10 or 12 chairs, is there a volume discount? Our prices are our prices. You just lost him out of here, bro. You see what happened there? As opposed to, hey, let me see what I can do for you, my man. Right? Now, my car had got scratched a couple of weeks ago, and Shakina told me, hey, there's a dude named Caesar. Give him a call, right? So the typical, when your car gets scratched, is usually, hey, bring your car in, let's look at it, give you an estimate, set a date for you to be seen, work out an arrangement with the insurance company, we get it done. She had me hit this dude named Caesar, text Caesar, hey, my car is scratched. I want to bring it in to get it repaired. I got State Farm. He goes, okay, cool. Next morning, hey, man, just bring the car down. We drop it off today. We're going to have it ready for the next week before all the paperwork's done, before all the insurance stuff. Now, it all got done. But he also said, hey, I personally going to make sure your car is taken care of, right? Then on top of that, each day I receive a text, hey, the car is here. Your car is ready here. We're at this stage of your car. We're halfway through. Now we got to get your bumper recalibrated to your smart system. Every day was communicated. Then when I arrived, they was like, yo, so we had your car. We made sure your car was next to nobody else's car. We want to make sure we had the highest protection. Caesar put his highest level of protection in your car. Plus, all these cool things, right? I give him a man $50 tip. Here you go. Right? Now you might say, what if Caesar quits? No, you're missing the point. Everywhere I go, I give a tip, 10% at minimum. Why? I'm putting an energy out there. I'm trying to create a world around me that says, hey, when Nana shows up, or when I think about Nana, this is the energy I'm producing. I'm at the top of mine. I give so much, the world gives back to me. And so I'm so blindly giving. I don't even think about where I'm giving no more. I'm just, I'm giving. And I wake up tomorrow and shit. You know last time I had a marketing ad? It's been years. Because people told me, like some of the people who contract with me, they say, man, I was in this business meeting, I mentioned your name, and man, you got a strong name out in the business world. You know how many people I've had free conversations with, just conversations like, how can I help you? Some of y'all are so protective, you're crushing yourself. I don't give no 10%. Back in the days, it was, if you bought a sandwich, it's just what it is. No, if I buy a sandwich and you got a tip system, you ask for a tip, here's 10%. I'm not eating at a restaurant, but just, hey, thank you. I'm a giver. But guess what happens? When I do, so one time I went to this one spot, I'm always giving. So I went to this one spot, and I left my wallet. And I didn't put the app on my phone at the time. And I had no money on me, and I was hungry, and I got there, I was like, oh, shit. And he said, what's wrong? I said, man, I left my money. He said, dude, you're Nana, dude. Just tell me what you want, and to me whatever you want to get back to me. That happens to me everywhere. Everywhere. Everybody's watching out for me, right? That's because I move a certain kind of way. Now, let's get to tit for tat. Next slide.
Okay. In a paper on the health benefits of volunteering in adults, the authors explain the beneficial effects of volunteering on health outcomes have been well documented. Mm-hmm. Research has found that participation in voluntary services is significantly predictive of better mental and physical health, life satisfaction, self-esteem, happiness, lower depressive symptoms, psychological distress, and mortality and functional inability.
Stop. How many of y'all go to Napa to get that shit? How many of y'all smoke weed to get that shit? How many of y'all sign up for the most dumbest shit in the world to get that shit? And that shit's been free all this time. How many of you guys are trying to find the right people to give you that shit? How many of you guys pray at night hoping God delivers that shit? God put it here a long time ago. It's called volunteering. Read the list of all the benefits of volunteering again.
Better mental and physical health.
So mental and physical health. Some of y'all health's fucked up right now. And what you do on the weekend? Get ready for the next party? When's the last time you volunteer? Keep going.
Life satisfaction.
Oh, wait a minute. Life satisfaction. You know, life just seems so hard to me. You taking all kind of pills, smoking all kind of shit, drinking all kind of shit. God gave you the super pill a long time ago. It's called volunteering. Keep going.
Self-esteem.
Come on. I don't feel like I'm good enough. You ain't did shit. Keep going.
Happiness.
Oh, I'm not happy with myself. Go help some motherfucker, please. Go ahead.
Lower depressive symptoms.
Oh, you know, I'm taking this Prozac. No, go volunteer. Go ahead.
Psychological distress.
I'm so stressed. You know, I got anxiety, all kind of stuff. No, go help somebody. Go ahead.
And mortality and functional inability.
You know, everybody in my family die early because y'all don't do shit. Go ahead. That's my point. A lot of the things that you want in life, a lot of the stresses you have in life is because you're not going with the flow, you're going against the flow. You're trying to do what you want to do, not what you're supposed to do, going back to what Court was highlighting. And because you're trying to do what you want to do, a lot of the frictions you're experiencing is you going up against the stream. The stream is telling you, swim this way and life flows really, really fast. But you're going to go against the stream, and when you get to your destination, you dead. This volunteering, I'm telling you for somebody who, y'all realize I don't really get paid for this at all. Sometimes I take a little stipend, but I'm talking about, I don't get paid for this at all. None of this money, any donations you guys give, I don't use it for shit, besides how to pour back into the class. Same thing, nobody gets paid for this shit. But guess what I do? I get paid for this shit. Do you understand psychologically? Do you understand how I'm moving the world because I'm showing up to you guys every day? By me serving you, the universe serves me. Do you realize I've gotten contracts because people know that I teach this class? They know that I give back, and because I give back, they give into 510 Media. Do you realize how psychologically strong I am? Ask Shakina, ask Shabish how strong I am. Ask Court how strong I am. I'm not a weak motherfucker. And it's not because I have a superpower by serving others. Okay, let me tell you how long this has been around. Hey, Jesus, how do you serve God? Serve your brother. He gave you the solution right there for mental health, physical health, all kind of benefits and gifts. And guess what you start doing? Serve yourself. You so damn selfish, you dying. Is this game cold? It's been in the universe for a long time. Man, all the religions have told you this from day one. Go serve others. There's a sister that's going to join our class. When she comes, she identifies herself when she's ready. This sister's one of the strongest black women in our community. You know why she's so fucking strong? Every time you see her, she's serving our community. And she ain't that fake type serve. She puts her work in, right? And so she's joining the class for strategical development, right? Which that's what everybody should be in this class for. There's no such thing as, this is not really a class, it's really a practice facility. But when I see her, I almost salute her. And she's a youngster compared to me, she's a youngster. But she's been strong since her early 20s, since I first met her, because every opportunity she has, she's serving. You ever seen them human beings that served in the military? How they're a different kind of animal? I ain't talking about the ones who are damaged from war and losing all their friends in front of them. I'm talking about the ability to wake up. There's people who said that in the military, you don't get enough food, you don't get enough sleep, and it's always stressful, and it's the best thing they've ever done in their life. You won't even serve your own fucking block you live in or the apartment building you live in. When was the last time you walked out your house and went and picked up around the apartment? But you always talk about the world ain't giving you nothing. Well, when you gonna give the world something? The volcano guy's been telling you, you got to sacrifice something now. Keep rolling.
Multiple studies have demonstrated the positive consequences of volunteering that are conferred on the volunteer. We may volunteer for a variety of reasons, based on our interests, goals, or values, but regardless, we reap health benefits when we do so.
Live longer. Y'all organic eat motherfuckers. The ones be eating on them fruits that's hella organic. You will get more healthy? Go serve. Keep going.
The research on volunteering makes it clear that when we give, we get.
Mm-hmm.
We improve our physical health. We feel better about ourselves and our place in the world.
Have you ever given somebody a gift and realized you feel better when you give the gift than when you receive a gift? Have you given a child a gift before? And that child gives you a hug and it feels like you got the greatest energy surge you've ever had in your life? And don't let that child tell you that night, thank you for my toy. You almost want to cry. You're like, whew, oh my God, I never knew a Tonka toy meant this much. like that's just powerful. Keep going.
We evaluate our lives as having more meaning.
Now, real quick, meaning is not a moral. What's the word I'm looking for? It's something that we aspire to do. Meaning is not something we're trying to achieve as something that's good for us. Meaning is actually a human need. Life without meaning is a dead life. Keep going.
One way of understanding people who take the kinds of actions that Bethune did, which on their face seemed to risk so much, is that they receive a benefit from the world proportional to what they put out there. Mm-hmm. It's not a benefit that can always be measured in legacy or reward.
Can't be measured. That's nothing too. People who are not givers try to measure their giving. I gave to 10 people and I ain't got shit back yet. Oh my God, go kill yourself. I'm always giving. Ain't nobody ever gave to me. Okay, do me a favor. Get in line and kill yourself. You know, I helped out. I donated all this money to the church and the black community. What has the black community ever done to me? Okay, sign up to get in line to go kill yourself. But somehow, just go kill yourself. Keep going.
Sometimes those things come.
Did I lose you?
That was it.
Yeah.
Was the last.
Right, next slide. We haven't got to tit for tat. Now we're there. Tit or tat. Okay. Tit for tat. Tit or tat. It's tit for tat. Okay, it said tit for tat. I thought I said tit. Okay. Okay. Anyway. It's tit for tat. Don't be trying to change the language. Tit for tat. Okay.
Tit for tat is a strategy which, according to game theory, is the most effective choice for iterated games based on mutual cooperation or defection.
So mind you, this is reciprocity. So tit for tat is our direct engagement of using reciprocity to shape our feelings and our emotions about something. If I give you something, if I'm always helping you out, Kaja, and one day I call you and say, can you help me out? And you say no, then I don't want to help you out no more. Right? We do it all the time. Every human being, we have that almost. Tit for tat is part of game theory. Now, there's different ways you got to play with that, and there's different people who manipulate that. So a lot of times you go to a car dealership, he or she attempts a tit for tat process with you to get you to buy a price as a return on the tit for tat, right? So there's a time when you're in the tit for tat process that you should exit the game because the exit the game gives you an advantage. But most of the time, you should know that game always exists. So when you're moving, so for example, if I try to give you an item, something for free, you do understand that human being could be implementing tit for tat. You got to know this, right? And so there's Hare Krishnas, right? Let me give you this gift. If you take it, they're trying to use a tit for tat rhythm to get you involved, which is based upon what? Reciprocity. This is very important to know this. This is why sometimes you see me look very independent and sometimes you see me receive help. This is what's causing me to make that decision. Because sometimes I don't want to pay that tit for tat. The tit for tat is more expensive when a Harry Christian gives me that little, whatever they're going to give me, a little flowery thing, I don't want to have that long ass conversation. That's too much talking. So I'd be like, no. They'd be like, no. You sure? No. Dude was doing a tit for tat for me at the, I was trying to buy some chairs. He kept pointing these chairs like, these chairs, and he kept going back in this kind of, with friends, with family. He kept these chairs, and I broke the tit for tat with saying, say, my man, there's some ugly motherfucking chairs. Don't talk about them goddamn chairs no more. I snapped the tit for tat. Like, we're not playing that game, bro. I know what you're doing. And he just stepped back like, okay, all right. That did sell. Because you're selling me this shit. He's not my family and my friend. He's using a natural game of reciprocity against me, and I broke it on purpose. You get where I'm going with that? And there's times when I go along with it because it's in my benefit. When you take on a job, a lot of times there's those tit for tat policies that keep you at the job. You do this, that, and they do this return. You do this return. And when you break that tit for tat, yeah, we need to have a conversation with you. Last week, you didn't really show up when we showed up for you. That's a tit for tat. Let's go.
Both players benefit if they cooperate,
Yes?
but one benefits and the other loses out
If one
if
defects.
only they defect.
If one defects.
If one defects.
Yeah.
And both lose out to a lesser extent if they simultaneously defect.
So if you both defect on tit for tat at the same time, we could both lose. Keep going.
As abstract as such games sound, they have important implications for understanding everything from group selection in biology to cooperation in economics.
Uh-oh. Shabisha, go ahead.
Under tit for tat, a player will begin by cooperating, then in subsequent iterations will replicate whatever their opponent did last time.
Mm-hmm.
So if their initial cooperation is punished with defection, they will then reciprocate in kind.
Mm-hmm.
In games that are not iterated and only consist of a single round, defection is thought to be the best strategy.
So, okay. If you change class groups and you get to an upper class group, right? C-suite class groups, the upper performing class groups, they do a lot of tit for tats. A lot. It's so many of them, it's ridiculous. Like, what's things having a wedding, you better be there. And you better bring this kind of gift. Because it's all a part of their system of how they all connect at that level. Once you start breaking it because you're like, I don't know that person like that, I'm not tripping on that, they disconnect from you like that. Right? But if you use a tit for tat with me on for a stranger, if it doesn't 100% be in your, like if somebody says, hey, you know what, your car broke down, I can help you out with that. No, you can't. Somebody told me they were starting a business and somebody said, I was talking to a young lady this week, she said she had a hire employee, but the employee, it was first he was an intern, then he wanted to be a full-time employee. So one of her vendors said, that person is a really good person. I tell you what, I have enough money in my budget. I will pay for their salary for a full year while they work for you, and then until you're able to pay them for yourself. And I said, you better not take that shit. You better not take that shit. Because you ever seen somebody who feel they have carte blanche access to you, and they think they only ask you for 3 things, but they ask you for 300 things? And the first time you break it, is war. This is why tit for tat is a very, like, as reciprocity, you got to be conscious on who you're letting have what access to you in what way. In this giving, taking, and receiving, and somebody helping you out. Because, or let's say you have a friend who's got a foul lifestyle. They make a lot of bad decisions. And you're down, and they try to come and give you some money. Don't take that money. Don't take that money. Because that person is going to produce so many problems in their life, they're going to expect you to be there in that process. They're a walking mistake machine, but they happen to be up there one day when you down, and they'd be like, yo, let me just help you out real quick. Can you do my daughter's hair? Oh yeah, by the way, can you give me a ride over here? Oh my God, you know, my sink just broke. Can you loan me this kind of money? Oh my God, I can't stay at your house. My man's hollering at me. Before you know, you're like, what the fuck is $300 costing me? This is crazy, right? But it's your fault. That's the key thing you got to know. It's your fault. It's your fault. Let me show you another way of tit for tat. A lot of times people give you resources to claim status over you. And if you take it, you'll always be that little one that they're going to talk to you like a little one from that day on. If you want to earn that respect of a lot of people from you, you got to perform at a level where they be like, respect. Why you think a lot of white people don't respect black people? You got to get out their pockets. Yeah, they got you for that money, but if you look at the human history, okay, don't stop human history 400 years ago. Go 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. Everybody's robbing each other's pockets. We're one of the last stories to be robbed, but now we got to get our pockets full again. And if we don't get our pockets full again and we keep going, allow them to do tit for every time they give you money and help you out, they're not helping you out. They're not helping you out. They will overbear. In fact, I bet you Shabisha can speak to this if she talk about other, not her own, but other organizations. When they help you, they will overstep their boundaries on providing you strategy. How the fuck you sit in the office gonna tell me how to make all my moves on the outfield? But then they start penalizing you financially if you don't align with them because why? You're stuck in a tit for tat fucking storm. This is why you have to choose. This is why you have to choose who and what and when you take money from people. Just don't take money because it's money. Because don't get mad when they talk to you like a little kid and treat you like a little kid and overstep their boundaries. You should have read that one. Keep going. Next, all right. Next slide. Yeah.
I think it's the next slide.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tit for tat was codified as a game theory strategy by mathematical psychologist Anatole Rappaport. But it builds upon our instinctual notions of reciprocity.
There you go.
It teaches us that our best option when dealing with other people we cannot trust entirely is to reciprocate their choices. Seeing as we can rarely place full trust in anyone, especially if they stand to gain by screwing us over, we lean toward tit for tat. In general, we view this as fair and just.
That's right.
If someone helps us, we're quite happy to assist them in the next time they need help. But if they ignore our plight when we need help, we're highly unlikely to care in the inverse situation. For this reason, evolution tends to select for cooperative behavior in groups. It benefits everyone in the long run.
Okay. Let's say you got plenty of money, your life has been good, no one's ever helped you. Okay, let's say you're make-believe. This doesn't apply to you, but the rest of us, let me talk to the rest of y'all. I had a young lady a long time ago. She was breaking up with her husband, and I had her kids come stay at my house. And provided the kids with some money, supported them, whatever, right? She called me, can you speak to my son? Can you speak to my daughter? You're like a godfather. Yeah, sure, right? Supported every kind of way. So this is like in my 30s. So I'm about to lose a house. And because if I don't miss this inspection, and then the contractor didn't work out, so I had to get the work done myself. So what I had was most of the work that they needed done because I did all the technical stuff. I just needed friends to come along, help me do the cleanup work and get the place ready for inspection. So I said, okay, I only have so much money left. I called all the women I knew that could cook their ass off. Can you cook the food? I'm gonna invite maybe 20 of my friends, and we're gonna knock this out in one day, right? I called her up. You know what she said to me? I can't help you because there's a new guy that's coming in town that I want to go out on a date with, and so I can't help you that day. So I'm supporting you. You got to understand, if you have friends that like you support each other, you're in this rhythm. The day you decide, I can't support you for some really superficial reason, she would come to me many days after. She came to me years later and like, I'm so sorry. I was like, yeah, cool, but I'm never going to fuck with you like that again. You see what I just did? I eliminated her. If this is back in the 1700s, I committed her to her own death. I'm not here for you no more. So whatever support I gave from you, I don't even want to hear what the fuck you going through for long. Because my brain said automatically in my 30s, I ain't got time for you like that. Some of y'all have burned bridges because you don't know you're in a tit for tat game. You gotta know how to balance what you gotta do for yourself and how to help others. But if you're only helping yourself, you're burning bridges without even intentionally burning bridges because you're not showing up to the tit for tat rhythm. You guys get that? Is that shit cold? There's people right now that will get into like positions of power. You're like, I don't understand why they ain't calling me. But there was one day they may have called you. You might call them hella times. Because remember, your ego got you thinking about what you need. Okay, this is saying in business, don't be a bully. Listen to me closely. Listen closely. This is important. At home, listen to me closely. This is saying says, don't be a bully. Don't let your happiness, your inspiration, or your strong personality bully. Don't be a ball hog. That's the word. Don't be a ball hog. It says, don't let your inspiration, your like if you're a really happy person or really go-getter or friendly person or powerful person or talkative person, smother everybody around you. What do you mean? You walk in a room, you're so strong in personality, no one ever gives you real feedback because you're just too strong. No one really tells you what they're going through. When you walk in the room, you say, man, how y'all doing? Let me tell you, I'm doing good, man. Let me tell you, last week I was doing this. Hey, man, get up out of here. Bye, bruh. You're a ball hog. You're the old Kobe Bryant or Carmelo Anthony of interactions. Y'all know Carmelo Anthony. Rotation, 1, 2, Carmelo. Oh, shit. You shouldn't pass it. You should never pass it to me if you want me to shoot it. That's my job. So the thing is that, so the reality is that we're in business, it's important that when you walk in a room, you say, hey, what's going on with you? And listen. Some of us are natural ball hogs and it's okay. Can you join a conversation and ask about that person, give that person time to speak for a little while? Or do you walk into the room exciting to prove yourself, share your stories, what happened today, and realize all your conversations, you're a ball hog. That means your employees are trash because you don't even give them a chance to shine because you talk too fucking much. You're a ball hog. A lot of good people, a lot of strong women. Oh, she's such a strong sister. That's a strong brother. They're balls. They literally walk into a room and they don't give any room for anybody else to have any presence because they steal the moment by their natural presence. And they do it so naturally. They're not even doing it like in a narcissistic way. They just don't realize, yo, you're smothering everybody else out. Keep going.
However, straightforward tit for tat is not as effective as the strategy known as tit for tat with forgiveness. Mm-hmm. This strategy involves occasionally cooperating in the face of defection.
Okay, this is hella hot. This is advanced game here. I'm gonna explain this to you guys real quick. Let's go back to a young lady, right? So I did all those things for her, right? And then she pay attention. This is manipulative. I'm just gonna let y'all know this is manipulative. So, but this is real world shit though. So I did all this shit for her, and she let me down, right? So I let her feel the pain of you let me down really hurt, and then forgive them. You just changed the game. Upon forgiving them, she's gonna go extra far and always to try to continue to make sure that she outgives you, meaning you're the beneficiary of this. This happens with clients, everybody. Go ahead.
So there's forgiveness and they're still fucking with her. Are you forgiving her or are you still fucking with her?
No, you forgave her.
Okay,
but once you forgave them,
because then it's like she can't do anything. She has this desire and she's going out to like prove, oh, I'm good, I'm better, but you still have that boundary, or you're saying take that boundary out?
Everything's going to change. Once you forgive them, you really forgive them. I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying a fake forgiveness. You really forgive them. When you forgive some people, it changes your positioning in the relationship drastically. Because their guilt is going to be like, it's going to be like that. What's that thing you put in your car to make your car go faster? Nitrogen. Their guilt becomes a nitrogen. So when they show up, they're going to show up for real. They're going to become even more loyal than people who say they're loyal to you. Because why? Also, it happens two ways. Or they can't believe you forgave them. They're like, oh my God, you forgave me for that? And people, look, when I got my car, right? The dude made a mistake on the paper. First he said, "Oh, your payments are going to be $891." Right? And I was like, "What?" That's almost $130,000 car sitting out there. $891. I'm like, "What?" He comes up to me and goes, "Oh man, I made a mistake on the paperwork." I say, "See, tit for tat now, right? I'm tit for tat." Now, what most people will fail and be like, "Oh, dude, you fucked up. Fuck, man, what you gonna do?" See, that's not, now you're losing now. I say, "Hey, man, look, man, I forgive you. Shit happens, man. Where we at now?" He goes, "Man, I tell you what, give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna give you another $3,000 off the car. That gets me at least a $981. We cool with that?" Dude, I had a budget of $1,350. $981. You should in my even though I showed a normal face, hopefully my heuristic, maybe my heuristic face might be like, "What?" But I was like, "Look, man, thank you. I really appreciate that. Good looking out." From that point on, that dude, like, when it came time to like give me my paperwork, he's like, "Hey, Nana, I just want to say thank you for being who you are. I so deeply." You see what he ain't talking to me. Most people ain't never talking to you anyway. If you really think that's not how it works. It's the story they tell themselves. And now that I forgave him, I really like Nana. He forgave me for my failure in our relationship. You'll be surprised how you have more forgiveness in your heart than getting people back. The return is way higher. But if you keep putting up walls, one day you'll wake up and realize everybody's outside your walls. That shit's crazy. And so I'm using forgiveness as a strategical tool to change the relationships. Now, I have my real forgiveness, like say, but there's people who've like betrayed me. I have somebody right now that they might even be listed as class, that in the past they betrayed me hardcore. And then I forgave them and they speak nothing but positive about my name because I hear it comes back to me all the time about how phenomenal I am, but it's really tied to me forgiving them. And then I thought to myself, you're no threat to me now. Zero threat to me. Why would I not forgive you? No value in me holding this against you. If I'm holding this against you, I'm carrying the weight of my anger that's making me drown. It's not helping you. It's not changing your situation at all. You're at home eating cereal while I'm over here fucking drowning in the river. So it's in my best interest to forgive you so I can stand up and move on past this, right? And when I see you, it doesn't benefit me to see human beings and carry animosity. That only causes damage to my body, right? So by me forgiving you, but when human beings know that they wrong and you forgive them, think about the time somebody, you knew you were wrong, and they forgave you, how you became super loyal to the test system. That's what the fuck we're talking about. So that's what I'm saying. But most of us forfeit that moment because we just show up to it over and over with anger or frustration or more punishment, realizing, no, you get more if you just forgive that person. It seems manipulative. Such is life. Such is life. Forgive. Forgiveness is I ain't talking about somebody that's going to be repeating, causing damage, or somebody like, if R. Kelly happens to be a roommate and you happen to be a woman, I suggest you don't forgive him too soon. But if somebody like one day, you was trying to play basketball, you really want to get on the team, and then they went to the coach and betrayed your name, and they happen to be your close friend, and you see them 5 years from now, you'd be like, hey, listen, man, I don't know what position you was in, but you're a human being, and my job is to love you no matter what happened. I'm going to let this go. If you cool with me letting go, I'm going to let it go. You'll be surprised. You'll fuck around one day and show up on the holidays and a big-ass gift sitting on your porch. And it's a box shows up at your house with season tickets to the Warriors game. Right? You're like, what the fuck? Because that's how the human brain works. Because reciprocity, don't forget, there's a powerful thing called reciprocity that's going to generate an outcome. It's crazy, right? Forgiveness is a superpower. Mind you, once again, I didn't say this first. I think this dude named Jesus talked about this. I'm just following up, just reminding you in 2020 something else. The cat kept telling you to forgive, and I keep be like, whatever, you hit me in this face, I'm gonna hit your back. He's like, turn the other cheek. Keep going.
It's easy for two opponents to get stuck in a cycle of mutual defection.
See, that's it. We get stuck in this cycle. We just constantly defecting on each other. Now, this shit's not good no more. Now we enemies, and we don't even know why we're completely enemies. It's so far back. We just building on top of that shit. We stuck in a mutual defection because reciprocity is the force that's keeping us going against each other. Keep going.
from which they cannot escape unless and until one decides to cooperate. If both are using tit for tat, a cycle of mutual cooperation will then commence. Life is an iterative and compounding game.
That's right.
In the words of Peter Kaufman, it pays to go positive and go first.
There you go. Crazy as it sounds. You're in a business deal and something's going bad with a vendor. It's easy to say, you motherfucker. That's the easy. That shit feels like it's organic when it comes out of my when my lungs like come together and it comes to my vocal cords. It says, you motherfucker. It feels like I'm speaking poetry from like Shakespeare or some shit, right? But it's not, the organic move is not the best move. Sometimes going positive in a negative moment is the strategy. It's a negative moment and you switch to positive, it changes the whole game. The whole fucking game. Keep going.
Also remember that people make mistakes. Assuming there is no maliciousness, it pays to forgive.
So, once again, we're not saying malicious behavior. We're saying, like I said, somebody's being malicious, that's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm saying moving towards a positive when something's going negative, right? Like, you experience something racist and you go, hey, can I talk to you, my man? What happened? Famous story. I used to tell this story back in the days. I go for a contract. Stay with me. This is one of my best stories about tit for tat. Using tit for tat, my favorite. I go to the city of San Francisco and I'm sitting in front of this white male. This is my first big contract with the city of San Francisco. And he said something hella racist. Like just straight up, just like, smoking on black? He just said that shit to me. Right? So my East Oakland sensor started trying to rev up. Kick that motherfucker in the mouth. Right? It's talking to my ears like, like the evil devil of East Oakland. Fuck this motherfucker up. You get up out of here. Nobody gonna see that shit, right? Hit him and then run and put your hoodie on. Okay. I flipped it and said, hey, my man, listen, hey. I don't know if what you just said, you realize it, but that was kind of like, you made a racist assumption there, and that's pretty intense there. Oh, my bad. I said, let me explain to you what happened. You see my face? Right? I'm going positive first. And as I explained it, he's like, oh, man, I really feel so bad. I said, okay, hey, man, listen, let's just move forward. Let's focus on this contract. So you say you want me to work on this city and get this project done for $150. Honestly, I don't see it could be done under $750,000. That's $1 million. We got to 750. From 150 to 750, you know what I got there? His guilt whooped his ass in that meeting. He couldn't even think no more because at the same program, I went positive first. Where if I would have went negative to negative, he just would have did the fight mode. If he's in fight mode and I'm in fight mode, I may even lose the contract or I'm at $100,000. I got to 750 because he made the move of being racist. And when he went racist, my brain went, oh shit, we about to get paid. Because I know this strategy like the back of my hand. When somebody goes negative, you go positive. Not all cases, but there's certain times when this is a hell of a move you can make, and people be like, it almost disarms them, right? If somebody comes at you and they don't have no power, and they're screaming at you, you be like, hey, listen, hey, calm down. What's going on with you? You ever seen a pimpish dude talk to a woman who's going off, and he's like, hey, come here, girl. Come on, cut that shit out. You know I love you. She's like, I know, but it's just when you didn't come get me, I just thought you abandoned me and shit. Nah, girl, I ain't abandoned your ass. You know I love you, girl. The car fucking broke down. You know I would never do no shit like that. I know. Before you know, you getting good dinner cooked and all kind of shit happening that evening. How do you go positive? How do you become the first to go positive? Some of y'all been playing defense for so long, your only response is negative. This is a hell of a strategy. Next slide. Okay. I'm giving y'all a hella game, so anybody nose bleed? Like, let me know your nose is bleeding, because this next one gonna make your nose bleed a little bit more. So you should have like one side bleed. I'll make sure both of your sides of your nose bleeding. Go ahead.
No, you said let somebody. I was just raising my hand.
Okay. Okay, let's do this. This is important too, because this is another one. This is reciprocity again. Loss aversion is tied to. Did you know, like when you think about reciprocity, we always thought about just give and take. We didn't think about how it's this ecosystem that's driving all these things that are happening within this ecosystem that you don't realize is a force out there, that when you try to break it, that force still controls the outcome. Let's go for loss aversion.
Loss aversion is one of the principles that govern the value of outcomes. Daniel Kahneman explains it like this. When directly compared or weighted against each other, losses loom larger than gains.
Let me tell you, that shit is so crazy powerful. Many of us will make most of our okay, I know somebody right now who's in business, who always hires the cheapest possible labor when he does certain jobs so he can have the most profit at the end of a job. That's loss aversion. He said, what do you mean? Let me tell you the way he's supposed to do it. He's supposed to maximize his investment returns. That means sometimes you put a lot of money into something to increase the returns, right? But what he does, because he's stuck in a loss aversion, he's always trying to avoid losses more than he's trying to drive the gain. And give you another version of loss. I'm going to kind of speed this up. Another version of loss aversion. Let's say Kaja's been working on this contract for quite some time, and she's been throwing events for the last 6 years. She done put hella money into it, hella blood, sweat, and tears, hella resources, and her reputation is online. And I say, Kaja, it's a bad business idea. You know why she can't let the idea go? Because she'll think about all the time she put into that and all the money she's going to lose if she gives it up. Let's say you move your business to the wrong location, and it's a bad location. You would try to make that badass location work because of the cost of all the money you invested in all the upgrades in that investment because you don't want to deal with loss aversion. Let's say you're in a badass relationship and you should move on to somebody else. You won't even consider taking all your qualities to somebody else because you're going to figure on, like, we put all these years in, I don't want to lose all this time that we put in. Loss aversion is a cold fucking game, meaning you will discount your gains to protect your losses. Keep going.
According to Kahneman, people are willing to risk losing $100 for every $250 of potential gains. The loss aversion coefficient is 1 to 2.5.2. This asymmetry between the power of positive and negative expectations or experiences has an evolutionary history. Organisms that treat threats as more urgent than opportunities.
So real quick, treat threats more important than opportunities. Now think about your schedule. Think about the way you manage your schedule. How many of you guys have managed your schedules to deal with threats more than you manage your schedule to deal with opportunities? Which one feels better to work on threats, putting out fires, stopping stuff, preventing stuff? You ever seen hood black folks when are they the nicest? When they're under threat. When are they most fractured? When there's more opportunities. You ever paid attention to that? Like, look, for example, let's say I'd be like, bitch, I hate you or whatever. I hate her nasty ass kids. Let the woman run out of money and don't have no food. You know what? We done came over to help you out, baby, because we just want to make sure you're okay. Right? But watch how we won't support that same family for opportunities. Okay, I'll give you another example. So, daughter and son. Son goes to jail. Daughter's in school. Who gets the most attention? Son in jail every time. Loss aversion. I want y'all to pay attention. These are natural, organic rhythms that are opposite of how you're supposed to move if you want to grow. Meaning that some of you are willing to continue to put out fires in your life and you put very little investment in your gains. Some of you spend your cash and your money. I put a podcast up. It says poor people make money to go buy shit. Middle class people make money they save money to go buy shit. Rich people make money to move money. Right? The poor you are, when you're spending money, you're looking at money as this tool to prevent losses. I got to pay my rent so I don't lose my apartment. I got to pay for my car so I don't lose my car. I got to make sure I have enough money to buy some food so I don't go hungry. Right? Your brain will over-invest in that rhythm and poorly invest in opportunities to get gains. It's almost like you come out of high school, you'll work really hard for a job, struggle, get berated, learn a hell of new shit, but won't take a class and go through nothing. I want y'all to see that like we're more focused on, and that's human. That's not black. That's human. And the poorer you are, the more organic you are, the more naturally you're just doing human shit. So this is important. I'm saying the reason I'm framing this way because when you see people doing this, then it's not to judge people. It's to show you they're just being fucking human. And you guys as entrepreneurs have to move counter your nature to achieve progress. And loss aversion is natural. Reciprocity produces reciprocity. I mean, look at me. Scarcity produces scarcity. Because you're stuck in a reciprocity loop of scarcity. So if you don't break this, if you're chubby, you're producing, fatness is not, being overweight is not a continuum. Overweight is a reciprocity rhythm. If today you stop eating a certain weight, life changes. It doesn't come back. It's only going to be here in the next 6 years because you maintain the reciprocity of this beget this, which begets this. Then you're stuck in a loop. You guys get where I'm going with this? Everybody with me? Loss aversion is such a cold ass game. That is game. Remember the famous game where they said, okay, all right, listen, I have $20 here. Yeah, so I have $20. And based upon College is gonna make a decision how much you get. And based upon what she decides, if you say no, neither one of you get anything. But if you say yes, you guys can split whatever she decides to split, right? So your brain, you're thinking $10, right? And Kasha says, I'll take $19.90. And you'd be like, man, fuck that shit. That's loss aversion. So what the fuck you mean? Did you just make 10 cents, right? From nothing. You won. But you willing to blow it all up because I got to protect my losses. Ain't that some cold shit how human beings move? You'll see this all the time. That scenario I just gave you happens all the time in business, where people blow up business deals all the time because they don't get the percentage they had in their mind, not realizing, don't make that one deal. If I just got 10% plus, I won. If I get any profit, I won. As long as my cost is covered and I get a profit, I won. But you'll say, well, I didn't get as much as him, so fuck this shit. You just left a great business strategy because loss aversion. All right, roll. Let's go.
Organisms that treat threats as more urgent than opportunities have a better chance to survive and reproduce.
So think about this. So that's why. So all these years, human beings have been poor. So it's more important that we focus on threat more than we focus on reproducing or producing. Threats. We focus on threats more often because we had to survive, right? But if you don't reproduce, your group doesn't survive. So you got to find a balance between protecting yourself and reproducing. Keep going.
When it comes to reciprocity, we need to understand we are driven more strongly to avoid losses than to achieve gains. Mm-hmm. This is why putting ourselves out there, engaging people who might dismiss or reject us, is so scary.
So when you're trying to give or be nice or go out there and move in the world and sell or whatever, every time you get rejected, you give more emphasis on that, or you have a harder response to the rejections than you will to all the people who say yes to you. So let's say you're a salesperson for a living, and you're out there selling, you're an entrepreneur, you're selling, you start your business, you're selling, right? Those no's become too weighted to you because you're dealing with loss aversion, right? When those no's, if you look at the numbers of you might got 2 no's out of 30 yeses, but your brain will go home and think about those 2 no's the most. And you start to shape your attitude on the no's more than you shape your attitude around the yeses. You start to shape your movement, your strategy, your planning, your investments around the no's more than you do the yeses. Give you another example. In society, 2 people get killed a certain kind of way. Big story around it, like crazy story, right? Government creates a policy for 2 people. What do the rest of us billions of people do with that? Now we all got to pay for these. This didn't happen to 2 people because you got caught up in the story. Where loss aversion says those 2 people is not enough people. There's not enough sample size for us to respond to it. It just is what it is. So unfortunately, he died. It's what it is. But you're just saying, you know what? 2 people died like this, so we're gonna do for this point. We have a policy that says this is new way it's gonna be. This is what you overregulate, because you're responding to because your loss aversion got you making decisions as opposed to what are the sample sizes? What makes more sense? You see where I'm going with this? This shit is crazy as you start to scale. Keep going.
Because in the one-off situation, the pain it will cause is perceived as stronger than the positive feelings of acceptance.
So one woman rejected you, brothers, hurts you more than 3 women who told you yes. If you're in sales, the first person to tell you, why the fuck you at my door? Get away from my fucking door. Will make you go home and not go to another door that week. One mean customer will impact the relationship with the rest of the customers for the next 2 or 3 weeks. This is loss aversion. Keep going.
The trick is to start looking at outcomes in the aggregate instead of focusing on each unique situation.
So that means you got to be able to look at the larger sample size. Next slide. Another strategy. You ready for another strategy? Stretch out, shake it off, because I'm giving y'all some. You guys want to know strategy, like how to go in spaces and make doper decisions and see deeper and see more strategical plays and how to make different moves. I'm giving you guys like these tools I'm giving you. When you start using these tools I just provided for you, tit for tat, loss aversion, the rise of win, reciprocity, you start getting into business, you start saying, oh my God, this shit's everywhere. But if you don't know it exists, you never seen these things before. Because they get lost in the noise of your brain. It doesn't mean that you can't see it, they just get lost. And you don't see the connection that, oh, this is a force that's built into the universe that I don't get to escape. When human beings, okay, if you take a group of ants and you watch ants can survive almost a lot. Ants are amazing survivors, amazing builders. They build like ants can build a big ass, like almost city type tower with air conditioning, food storage, all kind of like structure. You're like, what the hell, right? Take one ant and do a brain analysis and that motherfucker's dumb as shit. System rules says this. The rules of system says this, that there are properties that happen that are bigger than us that the individuals do not disrupt. You may think you're different, but you're still part of a bigger system of rules that will have a certain outcome that your individual personalities have no impact upon. None. So that means that when you're making decisions, you are a victim to the rhythm of the ants. You don't get to be like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do and it's gonna happen. At some point, the system cuts you off because the system's bigger than you. So these rules I'm teaching you are the way the system works. That all this time you've been watching TV that's always playing with the ideas of what if we didn't have to follow this system? What if we didn't have to follow that system? So now some of y'all have been growing your whole life watching TV and think, well, what if I don't want to do this? What if I just want to be myself? What if I just want to put a tattoo around my neck? What matters about that? That's cool. But are you willing to pay the cost of that? Nah, that's fucked up the way people treat me. This is why I hate. I'm gonna make a suck about it. No. You just don't realize there's bigger systems that we all have to submit to. Whether you want to call, now, your religion's been telling you about this for quite some time. I'm telling you as a business person, I don't get to break those system rules. I learned how to move within those systems to have unique outcomes, right? So within that system, somebody created a plane, somebody created a cell phone, right? That was never here before. But even with that, they still have rules they had to follow that they were built from science. Somebody learned the rules and then used the rules to develop the cell phone or the airplane. It wasn't they created an airplane because they're like, you know what? The first motherfucker who said, I see birds. I think I can fly just like them and jumped off the mountain, that's the day they smelled Jesus' cologne. Go ahead.
What?
So go ahead. Go ahead. Rise of the win. Go ahead.
Evolutionary biologists argue that our tendency to engage in reciprocal behavior is a natural product of evolution.
So biologists argue that our tendency to engage is natural for us to engage in reciprocity. Go ahead.
You are more likely to survive if you receive help from others.
So you're more likely to survive. Once again, remember I told you guys, entrepreneurs, you die on the vine through isolation. This is the laws of reciprocity. Tells you you cannot be an entrepreneur by yourself. Let me say this again. Those of you at home, those of you hearing this for the first time, you cannot be an entrepreneur by yourself. Sorry. Get over it. Get rid of that fucking Avengers story you had. Like, you're going to be Iron Man. There'll be no Avengers. It's just all about you. You're going to kill everybody that comes in your path. It's not going to happen. You read a book about this dope-ass business person who failed to tell you about all the people that helped them along the way, and you're just going to try to copy that person. Now you're going to be the next Steve Jobs. I realized that Steve Jobs had teams, and those teams are raw as fuck. But instead, you think he designed the iPhone, thought about the iPhone, produced the iPhone, manufactured the iPhone, and then sold it to you at the store. Let's roll.
And you are more likely to receive that help if you have offered assistance in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So the genes that encode the reciprocal instinct were more likely to be passed on.
Mm-hmm.
And thus the fact that the human species has made it to now is directly dependent on our building social interactions that are reliable, useful, and trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Humans engage in two types of reciprocity with each other. Direct, which is I help you and you help me, and indirect, which is either a pay it forward concept, I help you and then you help someone else.
By the way, that you may have ever met me when I used to do photography, and he used to say, "Now how can I repay you?" I say, "Go help somebody else. Make sure you get." I used to have a black photography class. I say, make sure you have some other black person that comes up to you, some young kid that will walk up to you one day and say, "I want to learn photography." You just pay it forward, right? That also stops me from looking for things in return. And because once you give and you kind of look for a little bit, it becomes kind of like addictive. And before you know, you're looking for it all the time. Like, I gave last week. What's coming next? That's not a healthy place. Pay it forward is such a healthier way to give. When I give to you, that you may give to others. That, and if you think about a culture that moves like that, would East Oakland even exist if we moved like that? East Oakland would die tomorrow. If we woke up, if we developed a giving spirit in our communities would change tomorrow. Because money don't make a community. Spirits make a community. Keep going.
Or it's more about reputation building.
Mm-hmm.
I help you, building a reputation as one who helps, so that someone else helps me in the future. Both kinds work.
That's when you do internships with some people, you help them out, which then helps you out, right? So that's another form of. Go on, next slide.
While reciprocity isn't as reliable when it comes to humans as it is with physics.
So in physics, reciprocity is always almost guaranteed to happen all the time. Human beings is based upon probability. It's more than likely to happen. Go ahead.
The concept can help you achieve better outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we go first and go positive and get nothing back.
Mm-hmm.
As is the case if we smile at a stranger walking on the street.
Sometimes you smile, they just look at you like, "What the fuck you looking at me for?"
Mm-hmm.
That happens to me all the time. And guess what? The next person gets a smile, even though naturally I don't want to do it. I purposely force myself to say hi to the next person. So sometimes, like, I may say, "How you doing?" and like that person look at me like, especially some of my Indian brothers and sisters, they just look at me like, and I'd be like, "Fuck it." And I see the next Indian person like, "How you doing?" And sometimes they'd be like, "Give me the nicest high I've ever had in my life," right? And I forget about that old high. But I force myself, when I feel that feeling, to make sure the next person gets that "good morning, how you doing." There's been about 5 or 6 people this year that didn't say thank you. Now, the first time that didn't happen to me, I pushed the person to the ground. When they didn't say thank you, I held the door open, and the person didn't say thank you, and I just pushed that motherfucker to the floor, right? That was my young version of me. The older version and the wiser version of me, when I open a door and the person doesn't say thank you.
I'm like,
Yeah. I'll just show you my evolution. I'm trying to tell you, it's not natural for me. When I was younger, I opened a door, the dude didn't say thank you. I just ran up behind him and pushed him on the ground. I said, "Motherfucker, next time say thank you." Okay. That doesn't translate. That's a should culture. Me holding the door really is not for them, it's for me, right? So now, maybe 5 times a year, somebody didn't open the door. That really does get to me when somebody doesn't say thank you. But I go, and I open the door again for the next person. Because why? It ain't about them. I don't know who you are, and a lot of times when I get mad, you know what that is? That's my meaning-making machine, trying to make meaning of it. Go back to how Corey said earlier, what are all the reasons that person could have threw the food in the garbage can? Do you know all the reasons the person could have not said hi to me? It could be plethora. But my meaning making machine goes to my default, which is that motherfucker's disrespected me. Hood people got the coldest meaning making machine ever. Our meaning making machine should be called infrastructure because that shit goes crazy, right? And so I realized that's my meaning making machine. Next time you see somebody, open the door. And I've had some of the nicest responses I've met some amazing people. Just open the door. And I don't do it to like impress them. I do it to keep myself in alignment with the spirit of this world, which is if you give to this world, the world gives back to you. And it gives me such an emotional, psychological boost to be kind when I wake up in the morning. You know how shitty it has to feel? You get up in the morning and you start doing mean shit? You gotta be in a fucked up state of mind. But if you get up every morning and just do positive shit, it gives me so much mental clarity to work on real strategies to solve really big problems and have the mental bandwidth to stay with it. But when I'm negative, do you know that negative energy let's say I get irritated with this, if I get irritated 2 or 3 times, I don't have enough bandwidth to solve my own problems. I know this is gonna sound like church tonight, but they've been trying to give you game all this goddamn time and you just was in a negative spot, you didn't hear it. Now y'all want to be entrepreneurs. I'm trying to tell you that we follow these principles. A lot of entrepreneurs I know who are highly performing at high levels, they're probably more ethical than most ministers because they understand the reciprocity of their behavior. Go ahead.
Most times they'll smile back at you, but every once in a while, you're met with a scowl. Mm-hmm. We tend to forget the times our smile elicited a smile in response and remember the times when we received nothing in return. Mm-hmm. And so we stop smiling. Mm-hmm. However, the small loss we occasionally experience as a result of putting ourselves out there and not having it reciprocated is more than compensated for by the gains the rest of the time. Mm-hmm. If you want to get an idea of the true value of engaging in positive reciprocal behavior, just make a list of your outcomes in any given week. Life is easier and more enjoyable when we act on starting and maintaining win-win relationships with everyone. And as we explained, reciprocity has been part of our biological makeup for a very long time.
Can I decode this for you guys? Decode this for you. If you have a hard time finding opportunities, especially those of you online, stay with me. If you have a hard time, if you think that people are successful or just lucky, what you don't see is that you don't see the power of reciprocity that surrounds them. If you go out into the world and keep putting out good energy, you're creating opportunities for yourself. You can produce your own opportunities. It's an invisible process that generates an outcome of more opportunities because how you're putting energy into the world. A lot of you lack opportunities because you're not putting anything into the world. You might be a nice person. If somebody came close to you and sat next to you, you might be a good person. But are you putting it into the world? You're invisible because you don't serve. You're invisible because you don't put anything, you don't give back to the world. If you want to see more business, you want to be like, damn, it's like, I feel like I'm lucky. I feel like every time I turn around, money just seems like it falls in my lap, or I always see these opportunities that's happening. You ever seen The Black Godfather on Netflix? You know that was an illustration of reciprocity. He never was broke because why? He was always giving. Always giving. If you go back and listen to the story about Stax, he saved Stax Records the first time. He went into the room and made some calls and said, yo, give this cat an opportunity. The Black Godfather was a pure reciprocity example provided for you, and many of you guys missed the point. He figured out every day, how can I serve somebody else in my community? And guess what? When he finally fell on a hard time, people was like, no, you're not. Not you. Oh, I made sure I got him some money. Right? Because, and did you see the house he lived in before? He didn't live in the hood, y'all. Black Godfather lived in the hills, in L.A. Nice mansion. Why? Because reciprocity. Without reciprocity, the journey, okay, if you practice on reciprocity, you smoothen all your roads. But if you remove reciprocity, some of y'all are driving in the sand. That shit is hard on your vehicle. You're working twice as hard to get half as much because you have no reciprocity in your game. When you just show up, and it's different between giving to get as opposed to giving because it's in your heart. When you're giving to get, your reward is already given to you once you give. But when you give in your heart, the universe this sounds like religion, but I promise you, this is the way the world works. It doesn't change. And not everybody's going to give to you when you give. But if you just respect the way the DNA of human beings are designed, it says if the world sees you as a giver, the world will always support you. Think about somebody right now you can think of as a giver, major giver. Just think about somebody you're like, no, that person really gives. If that person calls you tomorrow and say, hey, I'm selling this product at this store, you gonna come through and support my business? You'd be like, hell yeah. You? Let's go. Fern since day one. She gives to me. Fern gives to me like no other. She don't do it intentionally. She's a giver. Do you realize every time I'm in the business meeting with somebody, I'm talking about Fern to people? Hey, this is a young black woman in the community. She's doing this, one of the most amazing events. You have to actually go experience it. If you ever get a chance, if you want to align your company with be in the right places at the right time, this is the person you want. I'm working on selling her because she gives to me and I'm paying it forward, right? So you're not rewarded because you're the smartest and the best. You're more rewarded because of reciprocity. That's shit.
Say that again.
You're not rewarded because you're the smartest or the best. You're rewarded because of reciprocity. A lot of y'all is just trying to get better at what you do. You're trying to be the smartest at what you do, and you're the brokest at what you do. You would get so much more if you fertilize the ground with giving.
Damn.
You want a stronger family? Create a family that gives. I'm talking all the way around. My daughter the other day says, Dad, I cleaned the kitchen, and she made a reference to our allowance. And my wife walked in the room like, whoa. This is our house. You should find pleasure in giving to our house every opportunity you get. This is our house. Take pride in your home. Give back to your home. My daughter ain't asked for allowance since. She always finds my money and calls it hers, so somehow she got money. But the point is this, is that the reality is that you see my daughter moving a certain way where, like, if I'm mopping the floor, she's like, Dad, what do you want me to do? Or let me help you out with this, because I'm teaching in their heart, you give back to the family. Where I got family members who only give tit for tat. I give if you give me something. And they start fucking keeping an accounting sheet. They got a fucking Excel spreadsheet on all the time they gave to you, how many times they received from you, and that shit may not get uneven too far. What reciprocity says, hey, you need some help? That's all you say. I have a little niece named Layla, right? If I happen to be cleaning my house, Layla will clean as long as I clean. She's not my actual blood niece. She's my niece through brotherly marriage, right? And my wife's best friend. So she's officially my niece, right? If I'm sweeping the floor, she'd be like, yo, you need some help? If I say, yeah, she'll get in front of me to the point I'll be like, yo, slow down. Goddamn, you can't clean up the living room too. Goddamn, let me help out, right? She'll move that fast. So that same young lady can say, hey, Unc, I'm going to college. I'm like, what you need? Oh, you need a new Apple computer? Here you go. I won't even feel nothing about it. It'd be the happiest money I've ever spent. Here's $3,000, spend $3,000, like, I'm buying her a computer. Let her not perform, and my wife said, you should help her out and get her a computer. I'm like, fuck, man. Hey, man, anybody can buy a computer on the black market? What the fuck? We can get people for a couple of dollars because of shit. I don't want to give the money no more because reciprocity has been disturbed. When you give, you receive. So some people don't break that system not because they don't give. Some people are so busy protecting, they're not giving. You're so busy protecting yourself, you're a poor giver. So you protect yourself and then you feel like the world's working against you because you're not receiving anything. You're going to have to change some of those stories. Stop trying to protect yourself with every fucking body. I don't give a fuck if when you was between the ages of 7 and 12, everybody burned you. How the fuck at the age of 40 we still having this conversation with you? It sounds so weird to me. When I was 7, they used to steal my lunch money. That's why I don't know nobody's shit. Auntie, please, this story is depressing to hear. You sound crazy as fuck. Prozac time. Like, work on giving, loosen your spirit up. So, the old preachers say, for something to come into your hand, you got to keep them open. Your hands are closed. Yeah, you're not letting anything out. You ain't letting anything in either. This reciprocity is a super, 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 super power. This is why when Court first met with us, I was like, Court, you got to speak, man. We on vacation. You got to speak to people, bro. And Court's like, okay. First of all, it's a weird thing. Court can see patterns hella fast. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you're ever around him, he can see connections and shit. You're like, and then he just has some description. You're like, how the fuck you see that, right? But Court saw it. We only had like one brief conversation. Court took ownership as if he wouldn't talk to Jesus for a couple hours and came back from the mountain because he saw the patterns and the connections. And Court was talking to people. I'm like, why is he talking to that little lady? I don't even know who the fuck that lady is, right? But he'll tell you from his own story. Those turn into opportunities and things that you never even imagined. And some of those opportunities you'll never know it came through that person. I can't tell you how many times somebody says, after we done did a big ass contract, plenty of money on the table, we won. I say, hey, by the way, what made you choose us, man? Oh, I was hanging out with this person and they was talking about, oh, you was amazing. I need to fuck with you. I never even did any business with that person. But that person branded me as a giver because of how I showed it to other people. And they saw that story unfold. They say, oh, wow, you're valuable because it's built in our DNA. So, in conclusion, if you guys want to produce more opportunities in your life, if you feel like your life is rough, it's bumpy, you have ups and downs, look at your rhythm of how you're showing up to the world. And if you're so busy, you ain't got time to give. You so protected, you ain't got time to give. You so angry, you ain't got time to give. You so conditional on your giving. I only gonna give to you if you show up on Thursday at 2 o'clock. If you be later than 2:30, I don't fuck with late as Negroes, so I'm not giving you nothing. Okay, you're not a giver. If you giving with a spreadsheet, so I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna write this down so I can make sure when I come back to you, you ain't gonna have no problems, right? And then you look up and say, damn, life is shitty. I want you to understand, life has never been shitty. You just never read the instructions. As they say down south, I'm going to keep this shit spinning. I'm out.